It's the Mobil 1 301 here in New Hampshire with a lot on the line as we now begin the round of 12 with an all Penske front row. Logano leads the field to green. Let's go! Hamlin ducks out, looks on the inside of Alex Bowman. Josh Berry in that 21 pushes his way to second. He was brilliant in qualifying yesterday. And on the inside is William Byron. He could be a quiet achiever. He could be the sneaky one here today in Loudon.
Talked about how slick this racetrack is. This is as bad as it'll be for these drivers. Look at the 77 Hocevar on the outside.
Ryan Blaney has lost 2, now 3 positions. As Hocevar in that 77 up on the higher groove, Steve, he just sweeps right around them.
Momentum is the key to the success for the 77. If you're going to run higher, you just have to be able to kind of keep the rolling speed through the middle, as he does right here. Now that he clears the 24, no, he kind of stays on that third lane, that higher exit. We'll see if the 24, see, the 24 just can't really get the power down to the left of the 77. Hard to do.
Hocevar told me yesterday, even though he's only had 1 truck race here and 1 cup race last year, Jeff, he told me yesterday, I like tracks where you can be a little creative and do some exploring. Does that make sense?
It does make sense because this racetrack is widened out. You can run all over from the bottom of the racetrack up 4 lanes. And we saw the second they dropped the green flag, he was willing to go high and made up some spots. Blaney is struggling a little bit. We saw this in practice yesterday. He didn't really have takeoff speed. Watch his start. Logano was on the pole. Blaney started second. All day long, you're going to see the leader of the race pick the outside. This was planned, in my opinion. They thought this would work out best for all of them. But watch Blaney right here. He goes to the top, loses grip, and then loses all of his momentum. And now he just lost spots more and more, and he's all the way back in the 7th spot.
Tell you who has made a pretty swift and productive start, and that is that Jockey 88, the white car you see there, side by side with Ryan Blaney. That's Shane Van Gisbergen. 10th is now 6/7th early on.
Impressive for the driver of the 88 SVG. So dominant on the road courses, but ovals, he's just so limited on experience. This being one of the toughest, I thought the task would be a little bit more uphill. But he's really showing just his experience on these ovals are improving, and here he is battling with Blaney, Marty.
And remember, in the playoffs until last week at Bristol, and he told the team and the media afterwards, I feel like I let my team down in that first round of the playoffs. And he said, you know, I just want to get back to the basics of improving at ovals, but there's no question, Steve, SVG has shown that improvement at ovals, his best ever qualifying at an oval this weekend here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I think just making the playoffs, his real missed opportunity was Darlington. A lot of guys had trouble, and the strategy got away from the 88, but a lot learned, and what I love is just his respect for the talent of the other drivers on these ovals. He knows how tough it's going to be as Blaney now settles in. Jeff, you said it, I was thinking it. The Penske cars were the talk of the garage, but if you really turn the microscope up, laps 1 through 3 in race trim, they were very mediocre. It took them a little bit to get going. So the 22 and the 21 successful, but I think that hurt the 12 to start the race.
Yeah, I think so too. And they had track position, so they thought they were able to give up a little bit of takeoff speed, and it just didn't work out. Now he's got ground to make up. But, you know, don't count out William Byron in that 24 car. Carson Hocevar in the 77, he was fast in practice yesterday as well.
And while we're talking about Logano and the Penske associated team of the Wood brothers and Josh Berry, and we're talking about Ryan Blaney, if you think that we're ignoring Austin Cindric, we're not. Austin very much could have been in this conversation early on. He was on a blisteringly fast qualifying lap yesterday until late in the lap, and it all got away from him. Otherwise, it could have potentially been the first 2 rows were filled by Penske Fords.
Yeah, he was frustrated. Spent a little bit of time in conversation with him this morning, and he just a little frustrated with his qualifying lap and said it himself, but I reminded him he's doing a really good job. He's going to be just fine.
Well, I tell you, a driver who needs a reminder of just what the possibilities and the capabilities is that 21 of Josh Berry. The last 3 races, last. So to see him running second, and you see that green stopwatch next to his name, and he has the fastest lap of the race, is now like circa 2021 or 2022. I think it was the 5 and the 11 every single week. This battle on the racetrack now, not for the lead, but back a little bit further. Trying to see exactly where they are. 13th and 14th in the running order.
Progressive onboard camera, the view from Denny's Toyota. Back at Kyle Larson. And Kyle was pretty quick to say this weekend that, know that the results haven't looked like they should have, but there's just been little things happening to us that have prevented us from being as far up as we would like to be, as Larson tries to make that inside move on Hamlin.
Marty and I talked Hampshire Motor Sports in the round of 16 in the pre-race, and I know Bowman was eliminated, but I believe that was mostly pit stop issues in the first 2 weeks. Bristol, I was actually impressed with the 48. For the rest of the Hendrick cars, I think it's been good enough. I just think the bar set so high, we expect more, they expect more, but luckily their not best was good enough out of the round of 16. I don't know if it'll be good enough to be out of the round of 12. I think it will. So far, though, good sign from this 5 as he tries to work on the 11, Kim.
Yeah, and I had this exact conversation with crew chief Cliff Daniels, who told me, look, I know people think we're not up to snuff compared to past years. And look, you don't have to end up third in points by accident. We have earned our position. Yes, we have not executed the best, but we are slowly making our way back to the form people expect. But we've dealt with a lot of adversity on and off the track and persevered through it, Dylan.
And we see Denny Hamlin trying to fend off Ty Gibbs for a position in 13th at the bottom of the screen. Spoke with Chris Gale, the crew chief, this morning, and the thing he indicated was just that they needed to find a better balance with his race car. Weren't happy with it yesterday throughout all of practice. Just something missing to keep up with those Penske cars at the front of the field. Denny hasn't said anything on the radio, but they got shuffled back and lost some valuable track position here. So Hamlin just trying to settle in and stop losing spots in the 11.
Yeah, 5 spots lost in total already, Dylan, for the driver of the 11. So he'd like to stop the bleeding, so to speak, as quickly as he can. His young teammate in the monster Toyota Camry, Ty Gibbs, following him at the moment. Joey Logano has led more laps so far today than he has in the first 3 races of the playoffs, so off to a great start. 53 laps to go in stage 1 of the Mobil 1 301, presented by Toyota here in New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Joey Logano leads Josh Berry, and finally, if you're a Josh Berry fan, you're saying something's going right for my driver, because he just was on the wrong end of things in the first 3 races of the playoffs, starting in Darlington on the opening lap of the playoffs. And then last week with very scary scenes with that fire where he had to be extracted from his car in pit lane. But qualifying went well yesterday, and he's off to a flying start. Dylan?
Yeah, and crew chief Miles Stanley kind of joked this morning. He said, I think our goal today is just to make it to the end of stage 1. And he kind of laughed about that, but was also serious just because it's been such a tough few races for these guys. But this is the speed that we expected to see from these guys based on their practice yesterday. They were really strong, had a tough draw in qualifying, went out really early. Their qualifying lap held on to start 3rd, which I think indicated even how much more better this car was. And they really like their long run speed too. So as this run continues to develop, the 21 is only going to get better, Kim.
Yeah, and as we talk about drivers who are not in the playoffs, it's worth noting what Carson Hocevar has been able to do, specifically here today, running in 3rd. The entire field elevates their performance during the playoffs. So when you can have a standout day amongst the playoff drivers, that is a big deal. And Carson told me he likes this place because you can create different shapes with your line choice, and it suits his driving style here because you have to be willing to drive hard into the corner, which he is able to do. Right now, though, Marty reporting a loose condition on that 77 race car.
Kim keeping an eye on Chase Elliott, who started 27th today, and he's pretty much gone nowhere. He's only up to 25th. No word from Chase yet on the handling of the car. But when I talked to Alan Gustafson this morning, he kind of echoed what Chase told Dylan in Countdown to Green. Hey, we've got a lot of experience coming through the field with a 9 car. And he pointed to St. Louis a couple of weeks ago, another difficult flat racetrack where it's hard to pass. That day, Chase Elliott started 19th and wound up finishing 3rd. So they think it might take the entire day, but they do feel confident in the handling of the car. So, Jeff, when you think about difficult tracks to start in the back and come to the front, where does New Hampshire rank on that list?
This is pretty high up on the list. It's just very difficult to pass. You can see the multiple grooves gives the driver an option, but it also gives you an option to play defense. A guy's a little bit quicker than you. He drives underneath you. You use the outside to keep the pass from happening. So it's a fun racetrack, but it's a very difficult racetrack.
Well, what I will add, though, is qualifying poorly and recovering for a good finish. While you feel decent about the finish diff, you have lost that chance at stage points in stage 1. So damage is truly done even on the scoreboard.
I was standing in the garage area when you guys were getting ready to do qualifying yesterday, practice and qualifying. I was talking to Adam Stevens, the crew chief of this driver in this car here, the number 20 on board with thanks to Toyota of Christopher Bell. And he just said, Christopher is a terrific qualifier, but the window is so narrow to get that balance just right, and this field is so tight these days that if you're just a little bit off, you get punished the most severely, and that's what happened to him yesterday. Race winner last weekend, and he's way back in qualifying and having to dig himself out. And to have Bubba Wallace 15th, Christopher Bell 16th, Chase Briscoe 17th, almost inconceivable in the playoffs, but that's how tight and tough it is.
Another guy I was watching is Kyle Larson in this 5 car. He's gained 4 spots since the drop of the green flag. A lot of speed. He's gotten to the 1 of Chastain, and Chastain's doing a really nice job of taking the line that Larson wanted, but Larson has changed what he's doing. Now, instead of running the bottom, he's running up the racetrack, just trying to find a way around Chastain. And now Chastain to the top. That's actually what Larson wants. Larson is the best on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what happens down here in turn 3. Big bumps entering the corner right there. Chastain back to the bottom. That forces Larson to the 3rd lane.
There was a Goodyear tire test here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway on July 22nd, 23rd, and Chastain was one of the 3 drivers who participated in that, did over 700 laps of testing, and he said, I better do well this weekend. I've got enough recent experience here as Larson switches to that inside line. This is a good scrap.
This right here, if you want to have a winning car at New Hampshire, your car has to do what Kyle Larson's is going to do down here in 3 of 4. I call this a little bit of the Tony Stewart look. This is what Smoke was so good, is just that. You say it, Jeff. Overdrive the entry, but your car is handling well enough that it doesn't push the middle. So you carry too much speed, yet it still rolls the middle, and you bring the slow point of the corner further around to like the 2/3 mark, and then Chastain's got nowhere to go. You have the spot.
A lot of spotters are talking about the line of the 5 car and the speed he's able to carry. Kim.
Yeah, and as we talk playoff, guys, for Tyler Reddick, early brake issues in the opening laps. He talked about the pedal going long. Here's what he most recently told his team.
Yeah, copy. Brakes are scaring me for sure. My pedal's rock solid now. Went to -8. They came back quick. I turned the front fans off. Pedal's still super solid. -4 on bias.
All right, 10-4, you should only need the right front, only the right side switch if you need it, but it looks like knockback to us.
All right, Jeff, so you heard what Tyler was reporting about those brakes. What's your level of concern as we are just 28 laps into this race?
Steve, I thought he gave great information, right? When he started out, he said he had a long pedal, meaning the pedal was not, you go to hit the pedal and it moves. It doesn't stop the car, it doesn't give friction, but then that got better. But, you know, why the change? What's going on? And these long straights and heavy braking zones are worries for crew chiefs, for mechanics about brake failure. I don't think this is typically a race we would have that kind of issue, but I do not like starting the race with brake issues.
So long pedal is either temperature or knockback. Let's talk temperature first. When we take a look at the front of the 45 car, the center is normally, as you would imagine, it's hard to see because it's all very dark, but let me see if I can do this without messing it up. Right here, I'm gonna take a look at the right front. You see that 3/4 of a hole open up top on the left side? We'll take another look. They have like a half on the bottom and a half on the top of those circles. That's cooling to the ducts, right? So you could pull that tape off if it was a temperature thing. But what they talked about is knockback. So basically, knockback is as you go over those bumps that we talk about handling, it literally takes the pads and bangs them away from the rotor. So now when you step on the pedal, the first 2/3 of the pedal is to just push them back where they belong without the bouncing and without the shaking. So they feel like it's knockback. Jeff, way less of a concern for knockback. Now, you're not going to like it as a race car driver, but I don't feel that's going to fail. If it was a temperature thing, that would concern me.
Well, what you can do also is once you realize and believe it's that knockback you talked about, then you just pump the brake pedal once before you get to the corner to get the pad there so that when you get to the corner, you have the ability to slow the car down.
Now, there are things you can do to help that knockback, but those have to be done in the shop on Wednesday, like some brake settings, nothing you can really adjust, at least from a crew chief standpoint.
Josh Berry starting to put a little bit of pressure on Logano. Josh running that high line in the middle of the corner. You give up a little bit of room and ground on the middle of the corner, but the corner exit creates so much speed. So he's moved his line around trying to make this pass.
The three-time and defending Cup Series champion Joey Logano has driven that 22 since the start of 2013, but it's also been driven by NASCAR's first Cup champion, Red Byron. He drove it, won the inaugural championship. Also, Hall of Famer Fireball Roberts won it 30 times. Also, Hall of Famer Bobby Allison won his 1983 Cup championship driving the 22. It is getting super close up front. Josh Berry took a big lunge at Joey Logano and then just lost a little bit of ground, but it was the closest that he's been to the race leader so far with 32 to go in stage one. Let's see if he has another run as Logano comes on the inside of John Hunter Nemechek, and Berry just shadowing, lurking and watching and waiting for an opportunity.
Well, if you look right there on the left, if you're going to pass the 22, you're going to have to be at your best because he is the best at defending his position. I think that's only even magnified more when you're the leader of the race. That's like even another step. So he's number one of all the playoff drivers, number one really of everyone in the field. That is his spot to hold.
Saw in the back of the shot right there, Ryan Blaney has run the two first and second place guys down. Now they were fighting each other a little bit, trying to get around John Hunter. That's given Blaney an opportunity.
It is Ford-powered cars 1, 2, and 3. Logano, Berry, and Blaney in the playoffs that have been dominated by Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. The highest placed JGR car at the moment is Denny Hamlin in 12th.
What I will say about this 12, who's now recovered to third, remember he lost a few spots off the start. Jeff and I both documented he wasn't great on new tires in practice. So Marty, it looked to me like on the first start, he was just maybe a little careful. He had probably one of the best cars in practice, like he was taking care of it. But I think at some point, if on the next restart he has the same issue, he might need a little help from his team for fire-off speed.
That's what I was going to ask you about, Steve, if you were Jonathan Hassler, because clearly that speed that everyone saw in practice yesterday showing up for Ryan Blaney right now. But to start second and drop all the way back to 7th and then drive all the way back up to 3rd and going to challenge for 2nd here in a moment. Steve, if you were Jonathan Hassler, would you be worried about the start of the race? The driver, Ryan Blaney, hadn't said a word about it when he dropped back to 7th, and now he's driven back up to 3rd.
It's a cliche, but silence is golden. So if my driver's not complaining about it, I'm going to assume, Jeff, that the experience, the champion behind the wheel doesn't need it fixed, because I believe that Ryan, as should any driver, is going to make a great move on the 21, who kind of got stuck on the offense, slid up 3 wide into turn 1.
That's a great example right there, Steve, of Josh Berry trying to make something happen, and it didn't work, and he actually lost spots doing it, right?
Yeah.
Understanding when to make a pass and when not to try to make a pass. You know, you always want to go on offense, but when you got a guy behind you that has a lot of speed, you have to decide, if I don't make this pass, what's going to happen? And you just saw it right there.
So back to that story, just to close the loop on Blaney, I think, Marty, you know, I would ask him, I wouldn't leave it up to just him being quiet on the radio, just confirm what I'm seeing. But if he's not complaining, I wouldn't concern as we look off the rear bumper of the 22. Thanks to Hunt Brothers Pizza, you just look back right there. That's what the 12 does the best. It's that no man's land in the middle of the corner. There's not much you can do as a race car driver. At some point, the front tires just have to do the work. And he drives in, and watch this. It turns down. See how it turns and gets straight? I know it looks very little, but Jeff, you know how much better that car drives if you can unwind the wheel and it actually does what it's supposed to do.
Ryan Blaney's had a string of top 10s here, but not in the last few races. It's been 18th or worse, but he was very optimistic coming into this race today, saying we feel this is our best chance to win here in New Hampshire. And it may have taken 45 laps to get here, but finally it's Logano and Blaney back in the top 2 positions like it was at the drop of the green. And Blaney is the man on the move. Here he comes.
This is an opportunity for Blaney. Logano had to enter turn 3 much lower than he wanted to, trying to get around the 41 of Custer. But now he's cleared Custer. Now that puts Blaney in the position of having to enter the corner lower. See right there, he can't stay the bottom. That allows Logano to turn, get rotated.
Custer running in the 32nd spot. So they've lapped Ware, Kyle Busch, not the day he's looking for, John Hunter, Nemechek, and Jones. So the legacy cars, when they run good together. Unfortunately, at the moment, both a little off the pace together. 41 of Custer. Next up the road is Stenhouse Jr. in that 47. I bring that up because out of the sight now is the 9 of Chase Elliott. He kind of got through the traffic a little bit, running 21st, but now is straightaway ahead. I think that a nice job of confirming he should stay on the lead lap if everything goes right for 23 more.
And he had a bad first lap, Chase Elliott did. So since the end of lap 1, he's made up 11 positions to get himself back up to 21st, Jeff.
And he just ran the fastest lap of anybody on the racetrack the lap before that. So he has good pace, but they're going to have to find a way to get track position. Good battle for the lead right here.
As Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the car immediately in front of Joey Logano. Here comes Ryan Blaney, switches the line. Do they go 3 wide on corner exit? Not possible. So watch what Blaney's going to do. In that bright yellow and green Menards Ford, where's he going to make his move? How's he going to set his teammate up?
Well, he gave up the entry, which really is going to help him hopefully tuck around the bottom if you're a Ryan Blaney fan. Oh, man, he really had to clear that 47. You know, late in the race, you might just try to slide across the Novas of 47, but only lap 50. Just being patient. And Barry says, man, this looks like fun. I want to get back in it.
Yeah, he's joining the scene.
You can see how the leader's catching a lap car, how it completely can change the dynamics of who can win this race. So imagine this late in the race. You want to try to catch a lap car and kind of use them as a pick. Take advantage of that to try to get the lead. We will see that as this race continues.
We showed you the numbers for Joey Logano. Of all the playoff drivers, he was absolutely #1 with defense. Well, look who is behind him. #1 on passing. So this is #1 on #1 when it comes to the NASCAR Insights. The best passer against the best defender at one of the toughest racetracks. It's going to be a great battle.
Well, I don't think there's enough defense in Joey Logano right now. 22 likes the bottom of the racetrack. Joey keeps going there. Blaney in the last corner said, I'm going to try the top. Here he goes again. Can he get on the outside?
The opening half of this year, the news was Ryan Blaney having misfortune after misfortune, DNF after DNF. Well, the back half of this season has been anything but that. It's been a massive turnaround, and Blaney has been the most consistent. As he makes the inside move on Joey Logano, door-to-door with his teammate. Logano says, no, not yet. I'm not ready to relinquish the lead.
No, he's going to be difficult to pass. Good forward momentum right here, though. Into turn 1, Blaney can outdrive Logano into the corner. He's going to take this spot.
So this is going to sound crazy because Logano just got passed. But if you asked me before qualifying, I had Ryan Blaney sitting on the pole and Ryan Blaney leading every lap. The car was unbelievable, and it's showing up again. But Joey Logano, his ability with Paul Wolfe to put that qualifying run out there, he's led the first 52 laps. Obviously, they need to adjust their car to be better than Blaney's. But what a great run for the 22. This first stage doesn't require a pit stop. You know it's a sprint from lap 0 to lap 70. So for 17 more laps, you can think about what your car needs, and you can look out the window, Jeff, and say, I needed to do that.
Whatever that is.
That's what I need.
Took him a little over 50 laps to get there, but Ryan Blaney leads the race. And a quick reminder for all you NASCAR fans, when in Las Vegas, you can stay where the races stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino and Spa, the ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want, all under one roof. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway continues. We thank Toyota for presenting it. So 11 to go from this point in the opening stage of this race. And there is the 5 of Kyle Larson chasing down Tyler Reddick. That's the fight for 7th at the moment.
Quite a battle it is. Kyle Larson, I loved what his car was doing early on the run. I think they probably need to find a little bit of hold on. It's kind of fading here towards the end, but up 7 spots from the beginning of the race. That's something to absolutely work on. And there's points available. Remember, at the end of this stage, in 10 more laps, they're going to score points inside the top 10. So Larson running 8th. You know, both of those blue cars, the 77 and the 45, would be for points on the bottom of your screen. Bell and Ty Gibbs going door to door. Surprisingly, a little further back than I thought, 14th and 15th.
And for those playoff drivers who did not qualify well yesterday, it's very much in the forefront of their mind about the opportunity or the lack of opportunity to score points straight up in the opening stage. And they know that that can hurt in the big picture scheme of things as Reddick is persistent on that inside line of Carson Hocevar. By the way, ahead of Carson Hocevar is Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG has been running in the top 5 for about the last 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, he's had a really good run today. It was good in practice yesterday. He's trying to build that oval track knowledge. See this 5 car, Larson, up 7 spots from the start of the race. He was making ground on these guys, and then they got side by side, and then all of a sudden he couldn't go anywhere.
And as this battle absolutely continues, we look at the drivers that are going to miss out at the stage, right? We have at the bottom of your screen, Cindric, 16th. Briscoe, 17th. Briscoe had an amazing first round, qualifying lights out. It's, oh, the 51 right in front of the leader of Blaney, my goodness.
To get back in front of the 11.
That was good fortune for Ryan Blaney. Cody Ware goes around, and Blaney was able to avoid him.
Backfired.
What an awkward time for the caution to come out.
Very awkward, right? Because we'll probably restart before the end of the stage. You definitely want tires, but will somebody try to steal some points? What happens here?
Well, they're trying to stay in the lead lap. Remember that. 34 in the 3, and Austin Dillon say, hey, man, I got to get going here. 12 locked his tires up.
Yeah,
he flat spotted him.
I think that's going to be an easy answer for the 12, whether he needs to come to pit road. I mean, they all need tires.
Look behind him. I saw 12 of Barry way up the racetrack. Yeah, here's why.
He locked the left front up as well.
Yeah, they did. They're all just trying to get slowed down.
So my point in this is 7 to go right here. I assume, we'll see what NASCAR does, but say pit road opens with 5 to go. We'll restart with maybe 2 to go. New tires are what everybody needs, but if you are Wallace, Elliott, Briscoe, Cindric, do you gamble, try to stay out and steal some stage points? Now the fear is you'd be giving all your track position up at the end of the stage because the majority of the field are going to pit here and not pit again. I think the easy call, my call, would be to just pit right now. I think you just have to kind of, this race is so short, you got to kind of stick with the pack. It's a tough day to be an outlier. Bubba Wallace currently running 20th. Let's listen in.
All right, your favorite. I'm loose end, tight center, snapping off. So just try not to crash. I don't care what line. I'm just trying not to crash. When I go in, I'm loose. And then when I need to turn, I just have nothing. It just shatters the front. I'm just not in the racetrack.
So I know it sounds awful. I would start with what's affecting him first, the loose end, because I believe and he's concerned about crashing, right? We can't do that. So try to fix the entry, and if it makes the middle worse, then Jeff, as a driver, I'm like, well, you're going to have to help me out, man. I'm trying to give you something. All right, pit road's open, decision time. It would be a must pit for me. The gamble would be to stay out for stage points. I don't even know if you could hold somebody off on old tires as much as they're losing grip.
Connecticut's Ryan Preece gets the free pass in the 60. Meanwhile, pit lane comes alive, and Kim's there.
That's right. You see top left, Tyler Reddick. Rear grip went away like a light switch, he said. You'll see the tires going on. William Byron, top right, tight. And then he said the ride quality was very bad. Had a little hop to it. 4 tires, they went on the jack, Marty.
Kim from 2nd to 7th to 1st for Ryan Blaney. He said it took off a little bit too tight, but got better as they ran. And then he told Jonathan Hasser, I drive off is really good compared to everyone else. Joey Logano, his teammate, said, I just can't maintain any rear grip. Logano will lose a spot here on pit road. Ryan Blaney holds serve.
So Blaney, Berry, Logano, the race off. Good work from the 24 team. Here's another look from Ryan Blaney's viewpoint. What happened with the Cody Ware spin? NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and by Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. Fans here in the Northeast enjoying a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and what a contrast going from the high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway to the pretty much flat track here in New Hampshire.
Flat but variable, Jeff. We see cars everywhere, but the apron, which is in use, only about 1 degree, 3 degrees in the middle, 6 degrees up top, which leads to some crazy restarts, crazy racing.
Yeah, we're getting ready to see a restart, and you can see on the bottom of the racetrack, it's not even really the racetrack, it's the apron, but you are free by rule to race down there. It is less banking, but it's the shortest way around, and you can see how it's being used on the very first lap of the race, and everybody's trying to be a little careful. You can imagine at this late in the race how much more aggressive they're going to be, and you're going to be all over this racetrack.
If they move that inside wall, Diff, they'd be lower.
Well, I'm just thinking back to yesterday. Jeff spoils Steve and myself each and every week with some laps in the pace car, the Toyota pace car, and that inside, on that apron, you feel the car move around, and it's almost like some camber, you know, going back into the racetrack. So very, very much different, even just between two car widths.
Well, now my eyes are really focused on the control car of Ryan Blaney. He was the best car at the end of the run, but let's remind everybody, 2nd to 7th on the original start. Now he has control of the race. He's chosen the outside. I love everything I see so far. We'll see, though, if they've been able to kind of cure some of those short run issues. Remember, this is going to be, I think, just a one-lap sprint. Is that right? One-lap sprint to the end of the stage.
Yep. Historically, it's hard to keep up on the bottom line in the restart zone. There's more grip on the outside lane, on the straight in the restart zone. If Josh Berry can enter turn 1 alongside Blaney, he has a chance to get this pass done, but it all starts in the restart zone.
Clear track ahead. Pace car leaves the racing surface. Let's go. 1 lap to go, brought to you by Credit One Bank to finish off stage 1. Ryan Blaney leads the field of green. Here comes Reddick on the inside of Van Gisbergen. The 21 and the 77. Hocevar looks at Josh Berry and gets that inside run. Exactly what Steve and Jeff just told you about with that animation. But Berry hangs tough. Byron up on the high side.
And now Byron, I think, is in the preferred position right here. He can pinch the 21 down, get good corner exit speed, and get the pass.
There's racing to the line. But the guy who'll get there first is Ryan Blaney.
Short run speed fixed for the 12. He shot off the front of the field like a rocket on that restart.
That worked nicely, didn't it? 8th stage win of the year. It's his second here. He started second, but wins the opening stage. He felt he had a good chance to do it today. Well, so far, so good for Blaney. This is the Mobil 1 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. For the love of driving, Mobil 1. And the 301 is the 301 laps of this race. The first race, the round of 12 in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs. We're in the stage break, so let's get some updates. Kim Kuhn, kick us off.
Yeah, and as we talk Hendrick Motorsports, they said they've been making some gains on these shorter, flatter tracks. Maybe we're seeing it here today. Kyle Larson currently running in the 6th position after starting 16th. And they did the math. They feel like they need to earn 23 points per race this round to move on. They made a little dent in that, grabbing a handful of stage points. Right now, though, Kyle Larson just saying little free on the bottom, greasy on top, but overall, it doesn't feel bad. Dylan?
Denny Hamlin had fallen back to nearly 15th at one point, was able to drive back to 11th and finish that stage. So a nice rebound, but the only problem is they didn't get any points there. And this is a team like many of the teams, but especially on this 11 team, very, very putting a lot of emphasis on this race and next week at Kansas. They don't want to go to the Roval in 3 weeks with very small of a points buffer, so trying to maximize their days the next 2 weeks, very critical, Marty.
Dylan, for Chase Elliott fans, some positive news. Back half of that run, Jeff mentioned it on the air. Chase Elliott was very strong. In fact, for a number of laps, he had the top 3 fastest car, and he told Alan Gustafson before that last stop, he said once it got going, it maintained really well. So Chase Elliott, who started 27th, already up to 16th, hoping to sneak into the top 10 by the end of stage 2.
Ryan Blaney proudly gets to drive the 12, but who are some who came before him? How about Hall of Famer Bobby Allison? He won in it 25 times, including the '88 Daytona 500. Neil Bonnet won in it 3 times while driving for Junior Johnson. How about Ryan Newman and that 2008 Daytona 500 win? NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by Mobil 1 for the love of driving. And they're loving driving here today in the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Presented by Toyota. This is the Mobil 1 301 and we're getting ready to go back to racing. Stage 2. Beautiful afternoon. It's been really cool evenings and mornings up here, but the days have been fantastic and ideal to go racing in the playoffs for these fans here on the most northern stop on the Cup Series Tour. It's been great. Trucks been here, the modifieds raced early yesterday morning.
You got to see him for the first time, Diff, the mighty mods.
I stood inside turn 1 and watched him. It was just fantastic. I soaked it all up. It was awesome.
Love the fan base up here. I'm a proud New Englander myself. About 60 miles from here. I grew up in Cornish, Maine. This was the one and only time I got to see the Cup Series as a kid, right? Unless we went south or to another area, this was our local track.
I ran the first Xfinity race here, and from the time we got here until the time we left, you could feel the energy. The fan base here is real. They love NASCAR racing. And friendly. Every time you come up here, people are happy to see us. It's a good crowd, good fun. Great food, by the way.
Diff, they're friendly unless you want to wear a Yankees hat in the stands. I'll give you one chance. See how you get treated.
They're making their way slowly towards the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone to get stage 2 going. Just 2 leaders in the opening stage, and they happen to be teammates who started on the front row, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. And it's going to be Ryan Blaney who leads the field. Back to green, stage 2, it's on. And William Byron on the inside in that 24. The black and yellow car has just been creeping his way forward. His teammate in Kyle Larson's not too far behind either. And the youngster, Carson Hocevar, is right in the mix in that 77.
See William Byron in that 24 car. He needs to make this bottom work, because if he doesn't, the 21 is going to fill the gap behind the 22 and could possibly take the spot from William.
I was actually pretty impressed with the acceleration of the 24 out of the restart zone. Remember, those are one-lap scuffed tires, and the bottom is so hard to restart sometime. As you see Brad Keselowski with that blue and white 6 running the apron that you talked about, Jeff, the flat portion of the racetrack, trying to make something happen.
Let's try and decipher something from a distance, right? We don't know what kind of setup Stephen Doran, the crew chief for Shane Van Gisbergen, has come up with, or what Shane's experiencing. But now that the playoff pressure is off him, could that be contributing to this pretty amazing drive in the top 10 for the entire race thus far?
Well, it could, but I will tell you that Ross Chastain made some comments this week about needing some help. He's in the playoffs from his teammates from Chevrolet, and I think that's a fair assessment if you're Ross Chastain. And this is what he needs SVG to do. There's no doubt the 88 helps him at the road courses, but now this is a solid run. You can look at the air pressures of this 88. You can take his feedback. Look at his car balance. He's currently the lead Trackhouse car running in the 5th position. I thought he was going to slide in front of the 21. Yeah. Did a nice job there to kind of keep it straight.
2 guys side by side in Josh Berry and Shane Van Gisbergen, who unfortunately last week at Bristol got bounced out of the playoffs.
And I'm going to tell you, between the 45 of Reddick's paint scheme, the 5 of Larson's paint scheme, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin's behind him, you can get lost in a sea of blue and white. All very similar.
SVG just can't quite clear. Nor can Larson clear Reddick. I think it's advantage Josh Berry now on the outside. SVG to the bottom, but I think Berry, oh, contact!
Whoa. And around goes Berry. There was contact with Van Gisbergen. Caution is out.
It's been that kind of racing lately for Josh Berry. They've had good speed, but it hasn't mattered. Tons of issues. Watch this right here. Very tough pass SVG is trying to make on the bottom. Josh Berry wants to pinch him to not give him the lane that he wants.
I know it looks like the 88 is running what you think the lane is, but really the lane is a diamond. You kind of come back to the bottom. I think the 88, I put that on SVG. Let's take a look from here. Jeff, you've done it. What's your opinion?
Racing happens. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's, look, it's easy. It's easy to watch in slow motion and say, well, this guy came down a foot and that guy went up a foot. But the fact of the matter is they're racing for track position on a very difficult racetrack to pass. And they just, the two of them come together. If you're a Josh Berry fan, you say, hey, the 88 spun him out. If you're an SVG fan, you say the 21 came down on him. It's just racing. Something we've seen for as long as NASCAR racing has happened. We've seen this.
Here's Hamlin's view.
Come on, caution.
How in the world did Reddick miss them?
Yeah, that is, it's a great point. Reddick right behind that. Larson.
Well, let's go inside the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen and have a listen.
Yeah, I didn't mean to spin him. He just pinched me while I forced it back in there. Yeah, copy. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that, but came back down.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see SVG's point, right? He's on the bottom of the race. Great shot right here. I feel like Josh Berry has the advantage. SVG throttles up, rolls the middle. The 21 comes down, and there's contact. And Josh Berry is trying to pinch him off to keep him from having momentum on corner exit, and they just make contact.
That's right.
It's just
racing. That could have been two cars hitting each other, leaving the parking lot, right? At whatever speed, they were both converging. And for the 88, his option is to completely chop the gas or try to move the 21 up. The 21's trying to move the 88 down. Pit road open that time. I didn't know if any of the leaders would come or not. Only 7 green flag laps, so obviously they feel like these tires hold on well enough. Some of the guys further back will put fresh tires on.
Josh Berry's coming down pit road, as you would imagine. So we'll reset, regroup, and go racing when we come back. We made mention earlier about Josh Berry fans were rejoicing in his turn in fortune. So too were the Wood brothers. Have a look at this tweet from just a few moments ago. And then they said things were looking up. Oh no, I've jinxed it. Yes, spoke too soon again. Brought that one on ourselves. Well, to Jeff's point, racing is racing, and that was pretty tight. And SVG already apologized, and they'll have differing opinions on that, but just one of those things. Unfortunate for Josh Berry. He had been racing brilliantly. Great qualifying, great opening stage, and it was looking to be his turnaround in fortune. after 3 very difficult playoff races.
I'm not sure how much damage the car has. I think, you know, there's still 215 laps to go. You know, as long as the splitter and everything is still intact on that 21, why not? Good recovery. And I'd like to see a little levity. I mean, it couldn't have gone worse for the poor 21 in that first round. A little on their own at Darlington, but the rest, they were just circumstantial issues, So
7 of the top 10 are now playoff drivers. They're migrating their way forward as they come to the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. Let's do it again. Blaney leads the field to green. Watch William Byron on the inside. He gets another shot at Joey Logano now. It's Hocevar and SVG on that 3rd row, if you like. And then Larson's coming around the outside of Van Gisbergen. Reddick on the inside. Almost 3 wide off turn 2. Here comes Christopher Bell. Look at that Rheem Toyota Camry on the inside of his teammate. Last week's winner, Bell, is on a surge.
4 wide, Noah Gregson on the top of the racetrack.
Whoa! Hamlin and Bell pushing and shoving, and look who's right behind him, the 9 of Chase Elliott. He said he thought it might take all day, but he liked the car that he has, and here he is. Up to 14th. Slowly but surely, methodically working his way up. Now side by side with Bell. In front of him, the 11, then the 54, 45. Man, there's battles everywhere. Noah Gregson right there.
Great run from Noah. That 4 for Front Row Motorsports in the mix right there. Running in the top 10.
Hard to believe there's not really been a Toyota in the top 5 all day. The 3 previous races with this car at this track, they've won all 3.
Look at this mess.
Yeah.
Bell on the outside of his teammate Denny Hamlin, 3 wide in front of him. Look at the speed that 4 car Noah Gregson uses on corner entry.
Let's go on board with thanks to Monster Energy of Ty Gibbs. That's Michael McDowell immediately ahead. Michael had a good run here last year up until the final 10 laps when he spun. So there's no surprise to see McDowell here. Also in the mix. He runs 10th. Reddick and Van Gisbergen going. Here comes Bell. Gibbs surges in the middle. 3 wide through turn 4, coming onto the front stretch. There is some pretty spicy racing going on right now.
Contact on the front straightaway. Look at Bell all the way on the bottom. A little more contact from the 54.
Oh, that's going to be tight. Man, I didn't think they could make it work, but they do.
It was a brilliant weekend last weekend for Ty Gibbs. He led so many laps. He's led more laps at Bristol than any other. And then it all kind of went sideways on pit entry. He had a tire issue. He had a tire that was going down. He couldn't pull the car up coming into the pits. And from that point on, it all went away. But spoke to him at length yesterday. He said, I'll remember the positives because there were so many from Bristol. And here he's giving himself a shot at a good result.
This is so aggressive right here. 3 wide for this many laps in New Hampshire. You see Christopher Bell, he wants to be able to roll the middle right there, but he just can't do it. The car washes up the racetrack. Good acceleration on corner exit, but gives up too much ground in the middle of the corner. Hamlin trying to take advantage of the 20 being a little bit tight in the middle of the corner.
On board Brad Keselowski, BuiltSubmarines.com. I felt bad for Brad. I thought he was in position to win that race a week ago at Bristol. Right before that last caution came out, it was chaotic with the tires, but I'm not sure how it was going to go without that final yellow, but thought they were going to turn their whole year around. You know, win sometimes makes you forget about the slow start they had, but here he is again, running 15th.
You're not going to mention that the in addition to Build Submarines, that car is done in a design of the Boston Red Sox. You're not going to do that?
No. I've piled on enough, but it's RFK, the F, the Fenway Group, same group that is the owner of the Red Sox. So I like how they lean in.
Ross Chastain's on the inside there. Bubba Wallace. I think maybe some changes that were made on that first stop have helped him as Wallace starts to come back. I know it's Doesn't sound as pretty as it should, but he's making a move here. Might be a 2-for-1 as he's on the inside of Chastain and Keselowski. So that McDonald's Toyota Camry is working better than what it was at the end of stage 1.
It's so funny because he was thinking I'm going to pass 2 cars, and Briscoe's thinking I'm going to finally pass the 23 because he's pulled out of line, and now I'm going to try to roll to his outside. And if the 23 can't pass the 1 right there, the 19 is going to try to stay on the right rear quarter panel of the 23, not let him accelerate.
And the frustration level is high. Look where they're running. They're back in 16th, 17th, 18th place. These are playoff drivers.
Jeff, this looks like pretty standard normal racing, but the 3rd lane is more competitive than I remember.
And let's throw Justin Haley into the mix, and here comes the 2 of Austin Cindric.
Just haymakers.
I mean, it really is. Like, look at the 19. He now has position. Oh, wow, let's see what happens on corner entry. See, Bubba will be able to roll right here, faster through the center. And it's just so hard to get the throttle down and not spin the rear tires. That's why he can't make that pass. He's got the front tires turned, trying to get it to point, goes to the throttle, and the rear tires just won't hook up.
So quietly sneaking his way forward, position by position, even at the expense of one of his playoff teammates, William Byron, is Kyle Larson in the 5. I had a long conversation with the president GM of Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Andrews, yesterday, and I said, what can we say, because there's been question marks over Kyle and his form of late. And he said, well, I'll tell you what you can say is that it may not look pretty, but there was one defining point, and that was Darlington. Darlington was not good for our group at all, but boy, we learned a lot. And he said Kyle is through with his other racing. Once you get beyond the Knoxville Nationals, he's got 100% focus. He is totally focused on this. And he said, don't be surprised if you see a much improved result out of this guy this weekend. Well, Jeff's words are ringing true so far because Larson's up to 4th.
Good run for the 5, the 24 right behind him as well. Here's the 9. Unlike the first stage that the teams could run start to finish, the second stage will require a pit stop. We have 85 laps to go. They can run about 90 on fuel. They've currently run about 20. The difference this week is if these tires continue to lose grip, they maybe stop a little bit shorter in the cycle. We'll just have to wait and see. You see how close everyone is nose to tail. So if you come a lap or 2 early, Jeff, you can leapfrog. Those fresh tires might let you kind of, undercut or pit early in the cycle and leapfrog 4 or 5 on the pit cycle.
There's been plenty of chaos and close racing, but up front, out in front, to the tune of 2 seconds, is Ryan Blaney. Look at that gap over his teammate. Here on USA, the NASCAR playoffs continue, presented by Toyota at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're on board the Toyota of Bubba Wallace, but what was looking positive has now taken a bit of a turn because he's been swamped by several drivers. Here's the Morgan & Morgan Chevy for Kyle Busch, the three-time winner here in Loudon. Let's have a look what happened while we're in the break.
He's been in a fist fight back here, running 31st, and yeah, contact. These guys have been going at it. You know that Kyle Busch is not happy back here running 31st position.
Take that to Riley Herbst. And he has since cleared him. Meanwhile, we climb up towards the front a little more. Blaney continues to extend his lead. Here are the JGR teammates of Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin. This is 11th and 12th.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it also. Christopher Bell right behind them. Well, Coach, we all had similar speed cars.
Just not where we want it to be. Big battle between the 54 and the 11. Listen in to Denny Hamlin.
For a championship? What the?
Some frustration out of the veteran driver, hoping his younger teammate may concede between him and Bell being stuck behind him, racing for a championship. I'm on either side of this. I think if we were inside the top 5, I would side with Ty Gibbs and say, yeah, man, I'm racing. I'm out here racing as hard as I can. But I will admit, for 11th and 12th, right there, you would think, I think we should show this on camera for the next few laps, because I'm not sure they're done. I think they're very frustrated with one another. Oh, here we go. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yes, sir.
Gibbs goes around.
Yellow zone.
Off the front end of Hamlin.
Leaders is off of 4.
Look at him shake his head on the bottom left. Danny Hamlin's frustration. That move in 3 and 4. Now look, the 54 raced him hard, but Denny got all the way up there and then raced him off the corner, and that was it.
What the is he doing?
Here it is again.
This had gone on for many laps. Denny ran him up the racetrack in 3 and 4, and that was the, hey man, I've had enough, time to go. Denny Hamlin just simply sends him around. Now that,
He's rolling to you. Side 11. Yellow zone.
Steve, you've been in these situations, right?
Yeah.
Team dynamics, young driver trying to make his way, 2 drivers behind him in the playoffs. Ty Gibbs just not giving any ground whatsoever. This will be an interesting Monday for all these guys to sit down and have conversations.
It will, and I'm trying to put myself in Chris Gabehart or the executives at Gibbs' position, because, you know, I want every driver to give me the best for their car. But where does that change? Where do you concede to a teammate? And I don't think that's a clear line. I think each organization, each team is going to have a different line. I don't know what has been, you know, decided in the meetings or said ahead of time. So I'm trying to understand what that meeting would look like. Tense is what the meeting would look like, but I don't know which side of the line this one falls. I really don't. Like, it's easy to pick on Denny Hamlin and say, man, you got to just pass the guy. You can't hit him, even if he is your teammate. And I can almost see a little bit of Hamlin's side that says, hey, man, you know, we're racing for a championship, me and my teammate Bell, but in the end, it's going to be this man that's going to have to kind of dig through it all, and that's what happens when you are listed as the owner, right? When your name's on the building, you have to have these tough conversations. And listen, this is a man that's been having tough conversations on the sideline of football games, winning Super Bowls. So, you know, this is nothing new for Coach Gibbs. Let's listen in more out of the 11.
Are they afraid to talk to him? That's what I feel like. They're just scared of him.
I don't know the answer to that right now. I'm just focused on trying to get the 11 the best finish. We'll talk about it after, I promise.
Great work by the crew chief of getting his driver focused. Chris Gale hears him. He doesn't antagonize him. He doesn't fire him up. He goes, I don't know the answer to your question, but right now we need to get the 11 the best finish possible. 189 to go at New Hampshire. I like that. Some experience on the 11. New combination with DH and Chris Gale. I like what Chris had to say there.
Those issues aren't going to be solved today.
No,
in the race.
no.
It's better off just saying, all right, say nothing. Just say nothing. We're all, you know a conversation is coming. You know what's going to happen, and just it's nothing productive is going to happen at the racetrack today.
Game on.
Was that the radio from Ty Gibbs?
Look, this is going to be a huge moment at Joe Gibbs Racing. Yep. It just simply is. You
Absolutely.
have a family member that's racing, right? That's always a little tense. His frustration is, hey, just push me to the garage. That's what he's asking for. Is don't hook me up, just push me. The wrecker's trying to hook him, but this is a moment
that
they're going to have to work through. And it's not going to be easy on either side. And Joe Gibbs, this is where leadership is going to have to come through.
Pit lane's open. Kim Kuhn is standing by. Kimmy?
Yeah, good news for Kyle Larson fans. The driver of the number 5 say balance feels really good. Thinks he would actually be equal to 22 if he got ahead of Hocevar. No major changes for Larson. You see William Byron, that chassis adjustment right there, just too tight. He said, I cannot go, Marty.
Kim, cars pitting with 72 laps to go in stage 2, so this would pretty much equal the run in stage 1. Ryan Blaney said overall, not much to complain about, a little less rear grip on entry, but that's my only complaint. Joey Logano said we're better on exit, but I need more turn in the center, and a strategy play by James Small, right side tires only. Look at that, they gained 15 spots on pit road, Lee.
That'll help. That'll help big time. And we are under caution again for this. Teammates coming together. And it's the beginning of a big conversation. Exciting careers are available now nationwide, ensuring the US Navy has its next generation of submarines. If you're looking for a stable, impactful career, visit buildsubmarines.com. We build giants because it takes one to build one. And Brad Keselowski is a giant in the NASCAR Cup Series, that's for sure. RFK still looking for its first win this season. He came so agonizingly close. Yesterday he said to me, like, you get your forefinger and your thumb together. He said, I was this close. And I said, it's coming. And he said, I know. We did really well as a group. All 3 cars were up there towards the front last weekend in Bristol. So it's frustrating, but it's still in that building process. Man. And lots of positives for sure.
It's got feisty.
It's been aggressive. The whole race has been aggressive.
It's got feisty.
Look at this front row. Chase Briscoe, 2 tires, trying to find a way to get some track position. And how is this going to mix up the field? You know, if that line doesn't go in 1 and 2, what will be the effect of that? Marty?
Jeff just chatted with James Small about that decision to go with right side tires only. They had a bad pit stop on their first stop of the race, and they just could not go anywhere. So James said, hey, listen, if we net out of the back half of the top 10 by making this call, I call that a win for us. So Steve, sometimes you got to make a gamble like this, knowing, hey, I'm not going to stay in the lead, but if I can stay in the top 10, that's a win.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, you know, and I don't think I have the answer, is there have been races here where you change just the lefts because the lefts were a big contributor to the overall drive. Now the rights are much softer. James Small obviously had this in his mindset that this is a possible play he would put in. There's James Small. I kind of like the aggression. You know, it's not good to call the race from a point of fear.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Now, hopefully Chase Briscoe makes him look really smart on this restart.
Guy who kicked the playoffs off with a victory by defending his Southern 500 victory of a year ago, leads the field to green. It's Briscoe in the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Logano on the inside. Here comes Hocevar. Hocevar up on that higher line.
He's done that the entire race, from the drop of the green flag, spin in the back.
Multi-car incident. Cars going everywhere. Van Gisbergen, Keselowski, Haley skipped through there. Busch involved.
On the nose to the left.
And Daniel Suarez, 2 of the 3 Trackhouse cars involved.
Talked about restarts, how aggressive they would be. We have seen it.
Front damage.
Let's have a look. And look a little further back. Whoa. Keselowski, Christopher Bell got away with that, I think. Skipped away. Keselowski into Van Gisbergen. Here's the view. Build submarines forward.
2 outside, 2, 3, 3. Keep going.
Brad,
Up.
Brad was almost hit the inside wall. He couldn't go any lower.
I think he might have hit it.
Watch this. So we talked about running the bottom of the racetrack. There's no banking down here. They get bottled up. Brad goes to the bottom, and there's a wall right there.
I wonder if there's a tire mark, or I bet one of our cameramen can take a shot of that inside wall over the tunnel and see if there's a tire mark from the left front tire of the 6, because it sounded like he hits it. Look up here on the upper left. Here we go. Middle of your screen, you're going to see this. He's going to catch this wall right.
He does hit it.
He does hit it. Wow. I didn't.
Remember yesterday when we were in the pace car and I said on restarts, if you got to run the bottom, be right up against the wall?
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is.
There's
there
so
it
much
is, right
grip
there
down there on corner exit, but
T-Bone says, you need damage of a wall. I can find it. Well done. Look at that.
well, here it is. So he's underneath SVG, and there's the wall, and just not enough room for him to be there. Now look, I'm not so sure how close SVG was to the 20. But to go back and see another replay of that, could he have moved up any? Here it is.
View for Christopher Bell.
Oh, the 48.
Yeah, the 48, I think. To your point, Jeff, I thought it was a 20 as well because he had a lot of room to the 20, but he was right on the 48. And that's what happens, right? As you get staggered, it's not just one car. You're kind of like Legos. You're stacked in there, and then these, the 8, the 99, the Suarez is just, man.
Yeah, this happened because this 88 car lost a lot of spots on pit road, and that put him back in this position. He was running 7th, came out 13th. Here you go. Look at all this. There you go. It's just not enough room for everybody.
If there's no damage to the front left of Christopher Bell's Ream Camry, that's a lucky escape. And he and Tyler Reddick both have had super close calls today. Here's the view from Ross Chastain.
You talk about moments that change your playoffs. This right here could be a day ender for the one. Watch how close this is. I mean, whiteout. Turns, I mean, just a great job. Jeff, behind the wheels, it looked just like that camera.
Yes.
Like it's just you pick a left or a right. Here's the one kind of right here in the middle of the mix. Watch him as he goes into this. That orange car. Below him, Bubba Wallace. I didn't even see Bubba Wallace. It looked like he got through there, you know, with no stress, but I'm sure the heart rate went up.
Nice job from Ryan Preece behind Chastain as well to arrest his speed and not slam into Chastain and turn him around.
And this is from Austin Cindric. Watch this. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Suarez. I saw the orange. I saw the color of the car, but I was looking at it from Cedric's point of view of that overhead. He came close to getting in this wreck as well.
Nowhere to go for Kyle Busch, smashing into Shane Van Gisbergen. Moments away from going racing, going back to green here in New Hampshire. We're aboard the RFK Ford with thanks to Santa Fe Flu Zone of Chris Buescher. He, like the race leader, Chase Briscoe, also took tyres on that last stop. Just 2 tyres, I should say. So we'll see how that works for him as we go back to racing. Chase Briscoe leads the field to green. Hocevar immediately behind. Logano on the inside. Let's see if we can get through the first 2 turns successfully this time round. Logano on that low side, pressing Briscoe. And a good clean passage through there. Look at Kyle Larson on the inside. He sets up Hocevar beautifully. Oh, and Hocevar, did he get into Logano a little bit? Larson went from 4th to 2nd. Beautiful move. 3 wide up the front stretch. Blaney on the inside, Hocevar and Logano. Hocevar continues to work on Logano in that Delaware Life Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports and clears him for the time being. Blaney looming in the background. And Larson is out after the race leader, Chase Briscoe.
See that 21 car, he's worked himself all the way back up to 15th place. Got spun out, went back to last, driven up to 15th.
Great comeback. These two are stuck together, Logano and Hocevar, like for the lead. Briscoe is under the biggest amount of pressure because that HendrickCars.com Chevy is right there. Look at this. Last time in the pits, Larson took 4 tires. Remember, Briscoe only 2. How long is he going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Larson for?
Hocevar, remember last week, late in Bristol on older tires, was in position to win that race. Really wasn't set up right on the older tires, but did a really good job. And this car, at 77 car, is fast on short runs. Earlier, the first run of the day, had good speed, but was not able to hang on as well. But this is the strength.
An A+ James Small, crew chief of the 19, the 2-tire call, will probably be passed by the 5, but now with 58 to go, he just hopes to settle in, maybe into the top 3 or 4. Blaney now working on Hocevar, bottom of your screen, battle for 4th.
You wonder other people watching this 19 car and their strategy.
Yeah.
Depending on how many laps are on tires, will others try 2 tires? It's worked good on a short run. He was running 16th when he put on 2 tires and came out with the lead.
What have you observed, Steve, about that tire degradation and fall off so far?
So I think it's the goal, which is they want the tires to lose grip more and more and more at the short tracks. I do think this is the most severe we have seen at New Hampshire. You have to understand that this track, not a lot happens to the car. Like the middle of the corner is so flat. That's what makes it so challenging, because you know, when you adjust the chassis, it doesn't have a huge reaction because the cars are so unloaded. So it's hard to have tires that are durable enough to withstand the braking and withstand the acceleration. But right here in the middle of the corner, I swear if I ran out there and just pushed one, it would slide up a groove. Like, they're so light.
I can tell you this. I don't know about tire fall off, but the racing has been incredible. I mean, the tire has made an impact in the quality of racing. I mean, we've seen 3 wide. We've seen incredible battles, even late in the run. So regardless of tire fall off, it is an improvement.
With that turn 2 incident, that multi-car incident, we said if Christopher Bell can get away with no damage, that's a lucky escape. Kim Kuhn has an update on that. Tell us more, Kimmy.
Yeah, despite running 8, does have a little bit of damage, just a little left front. The toe was out, and they asked him what his steering wheel was doing. He said it was further to the right, so that steering offset a little bit off. The pictures didn't look bad, and because of the number of lead lap cars, they elected to keep him out. Adam Stevens telling him it might drive a little freer on entry because of that bit of damage, but right now doesn't seem to impairing him because, again, running in the 8th position.
It's getting close at the front. Briscoe's coming under increasing pressure from Larson, Logano. They're catching the race leader.
And look at the left side of your screen. Remember, the blue boxes around the playoff drivers, they were kind of scattered to start. Not scattered anymore. 7 of the top 8. They are starting to kind of matriculate their way to the front. Even the ones that didn't have good qualifying runs, making some adjustments.
Larson has got to get going here. If he's going to get around this 19, he better make quick work of it, because Joey Logano is right there. Larson's moved his line, run up the racetrack. That's allowed Joey Logano to run the bottom. Larson's having to do that to get away from that 19 car, get away from the wake. Look at him now, he goes to the bottom. A little bit of contact. He's like, I gotta go.
Gives Chase Briscoe a little tap and says, hey, I'm here and I'm ready to get by.
What a race we've had. I mean, for 133 laps, this has
been awesome.
All right, right there, Larson's car just didn't turn the middle like he needed it to. That allows Briscoe to get momentum on him. Now Larson, watch what he does. See if he just overdrives the entry, runs to the bottom. He just stays on the bottom as long as he can. Gets forward momentum, makes the pass.
New race leader, and for the first time today, it's Kyle Larson. And now Logano's lining up for a shot at Briscoe as well. Hocevar's not too far away, and so too Ryan Blaney.
That's such a great job by Larson. He makes it look easy. Those passes look easy, but they're not. He has to completely understand the pace which he can drive into the corner without driving into the corner too hard. Just really good job there. And look, he's on older tires, and it's starting to show up. Everybody's getting ready to get by him.
51 laps to go, 50 to go, pardon me, in this second stage. What a day it's been for the driver of that Delaware Life Chevrolet, Carson Hocevar. By the way, Delaware Life is headquartered in Waltham, Massachusetts, not too far away. So this is a home race for them. And what a performance from this 22-year-old. As Jeff said earlier, he was on the front row, leading to that final green flag in Bristol a week ago, but didn't have the tires to hold on and just drifted up the track, and Christopher Bell was able to get by Carson and Zane Smith in a really exciting finish to that race, but he's hanging tough today.
Logano all over Larson. Forward momentum.
No pressure, 4, then 1 to Blaney.
All right, so that information from the spotter let him know what's right behind him. It let him know he can be aggressive here, because if he doesn't make this pass, they're not close enough to get by him, so they gave him the green light to go try to make something happen.
Logano to the inside. The man who's led 52 laps here today.
Oh, it's not over.
Goes back to the front, but for how much longer?
Yeah, Larson lunged at him a little bit, but the long run pace of this 22 and the 12, they've been superior today on long runs. Let's see if that continues.
For these two guys at the front, for Joey, it's been 18 races since he's seen victory lane. For Larson, it's been 17 races. And they are desperate for a win, particularly with this being the first race of a new round, the round of 12 in the playoffs. Stage 2 of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs continues here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, presented by Toyota. And speaking of Toyota, let's bring you a Toyota driver update to show you who is where. And Chase Briscoe, right on screen there. In the Bass Pro Shops, Toyota Camry is the highest place. His teammate is immediately behind. There's more Toyotas in these playoffs than the other two manufacturers, and they have won every race of these playoffs so far. So it's been an amazing run by Toyota-powered cars. Will it continue?
I thought the 19, Briscoe, was in trouble. He's out there on 2 tires, but he's hanging in there pretty good, Steve.
He is. He is. I think it's going to be a very tedious 42 laps to finish. I agree with you. It's hanging on great. My concern for the left side tires is when they stop helping the rights, do the rights degrade quicker, right? Like, do they really fall off? We see the 54 made repairs. He's back on pit road working on his car. Oh. All right.
Wow.
Remember, he had some damage, so I don't know if the car is just driving really badly.
Ty was fighting that big time. So the JGR crew go back to work, and as Logano and his Team Penske teammate, they drift by the lapped Kyle Busch. Unfortunately, Kyle was caught up in that big incident a little earlier, but let's put the spotlight on the race leader. Let's talk more about Joey Logano, Marty.
You know, it's interesting, Lee, when you kind of get inside the mind of Paul Wolfe and Joey Logano about how they approach the playoffs. Paul Wolfe has been telling Joey Logano about the round of 12 once they advanced in Bristol last Saturday night. This is the race where we have to make it happen at New Hampshire. The tire test went terrific for us. He told Joey earlier this week, listen, Kansas, mile and a half track, we cannot count on that track. The Roval, road courses have not been our strength this year. You have to get it done today at New Hampshire. So, Steve, I'm curious. Oh, a wreck on the track.
John Hunter Nemechek in the Pi Barker Legacy Motor Club Toyota.
Really hard, stuck the right front around. Probably gonna be a garage.
There you go. You heard the explanation for yourself. Front right really hard. Was running 22nd at the time.
Yeah, as you try to pull off, you see the right front hop, which tells me the lower suspension is broken off that car. You might need a tow.
Thanks to the AMR safety team there, pronto as always.
Yeah, been a bit of a struggle for this team. All of Legacy was struggling today. Didn't really have the speed that we've seen from them recently. Trying to make a pass.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Wow. Oh.
That is an odd looking wreck. What happens here? Under braking through the bumps. See the car bouncing up and down through the bumps, Steve? I think maybe they just, you know, they've been struggling with speed. Maybe that's part of it. He just could not get through those bumps well enough, and that was a big impact.
Yeah, we hear drivers complain about being loose in a lot, but I'll be honest, rarely do you see one spin out on corner entry. Normally it's like a big save or you slow down. That one takes a big hop over the bumps, and that's it. The rear tires never really connect back to the racetrack, and wow, that is a big, big, big impact.
It really was. I tell you, Cindric did a really nice job of avoiding this.
Team communicating to John Hunter. He's going to leave the window net up, which he'll ride in the car. They'll take it back, and they can do some repairs. He will absolutely have to go to the care center at some point, but he feels, you know, he doesn't know what the outside of the car looks like, so he wants to be towed into to his team. It's going to take a little bit of work to get this one towed. It's kind of wrecked both ends.
That was a big hit.
It really was.
And everybody talks about those bumps. We hear it, all the drivers complain about how rough it is getting into turn 3. And you said it, Steve, a lot of talk about being loose on corner entry. That's it. That's when you are loose. See that car jump through actually jumped through the bumps. And now the rear just has no grip and around it goes. And Cindric, really nice job missing that wreck.
If the 35 wasn't there for a reference of speed, I would have said, oh, he had a braking issue. Like the car looks like it's going so fast. But you look at the 35.
Look, it's porpoising.
Yeah, but
it is porpoising through there.
The Herbst, you know, makes the corner. My point is, he's not going 10 miles an hour too fast. It just proves that as soon as that 42 gets backwards, he looks like he's going 20 miles an hour faster than he needs to be. Oh, here we go. Listen.
The early downshift.
Yeah, it sounds to me that
almost like a mixture of a downshift and the bumps all at the same time. Everybody's on pit road. Kim.
Including Kyle Larson, that balance kind of going away. He said it's tight enough that it's affecting his corner speed. Just front is numb, but he also burned off his rear, so you see right side tires only, Marty.
Ryan Blaney said, I lost a little bit of rear drive at the end of that run. I might have hurt the tires trying to get through traffic a little bit quicker. Joey Logano pitched from the lead. He said it never freed up for me, but he told Paul Wolfe, I'm afraid to make any changes chassis-wise. Right sides only for the 22 of Joey Logano, and hold serve here on pit road in a number of just 2 tire changes.
Jeff Burton, you called it. Everybody would have their eyes on the 19 and success of 2 tires, and I believe that was the reason a lot of guys called for the same thing.
Under caution for this huge impact from John Hunter Nemechek. 35 to go in stage 2. Back in a moment. There was a flurry of two-tire stops on that last stop. But speaking of that most recent round, Marty, tell us what happened to Chase Elliott.
Yeah, it was an eventful stop for Chase Elliott. The fueler, John Giannotto, gets the can caught in the fuel area, and then he had to tackle it to the ground. Now, John is a former center at UNLV. In fact, Shane Steichen was his quarterback at UNLV, and he said, I was not going to let go of that can. I was going to take it to the ground no matter what. He said, I'm not proud of that, but no penalty. That's all that matters.
It's like a good pancake block. Just ride your defender all the way to the ground.
That had to hurt.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
For sure.
All right, ready for the restart? Let's have a listen. Let's go inside the world of Joey Logano.
Line now, 48 quarterback. Peeling to the bottom in there, inside. Your middle. Clear high, and low, clear by 1. All clear. Double wide behind you, goodbye 2, nearly 3.
Well, maybe next time we'll give you Joey Logano. That was Tab Boyd for Christopher Bell in the 20, who runs 4th at the moment, working hard on William Byron as they stretch their legs down to turn 3.
See all this battle back here. Remember, a lot of 2 tires. Some have 4. Blaney chose to put 4 tires on. Came in running 4th. Went out 11th. Has fallen back to 12th. Hocevar, he has 4 tires on. He's gone forward.
Boy, Reddick was having trouble there through turn 2. That car did not look quite stable as he wrestles with Ross Chastain. Chastain on the inside. Zane Smith now comes up into the mix, who really enjoyed a lot of time at the front last weekend at Bristol. There's Briscoe. There's Blaney on the outside of him. Talking about this region of 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th.
That 77 doesn't have the long run car, but if this race comes down to a 5 or 10 lap shootout, I think he might have the best short run car.
It's been so aggressive back in the pack. Look at this, 3 wide.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, great save, Ty Dillon. That was incredible.
Oh, my goodness. Bubba lifted. He's like, they're going to wreck.
In motorcycle terms, that was a tank slapper of epic proportions. So Logano out in front leads. Kyle Larson, William Byron's been able to fend off the challenge from Bell. And then we get to Hocevar, Blaney, McDowell, Briscoe, etc. Chase Elliott maintaining 7th in the Napa Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports. Despite that stop, it's been progress in the right direction.
There's racing all over this racetrack. Talked about Blaney on 4 tires. The restart did not go the way he needed it to go. Went backwards for a few laps. Now starting to go forward. Chase Elliott now in position to get some stage points.
26 to go in stage 2.
See Blaney on the bottom left. You mentioned it, Jeff, kind of faded on those 4 tires. Now, though, these last 26, I think, are most important for this 12 car. All the cars in front of him, other than Hocevar, are all on 2 tires. So while at 4 doesn't seem to be a huge advantage, kind of claw yourself back into the mix, right? Get yourself from 10th, maybe up into 5th or 6th. Get back in the position to have a chance to win this race.
And James Small, his crew chief at the 19 team of Briscoe, will have told Chase that that's what's going on with Blaney, and you need to go with him because we got 4 as well. And unfortunately, Ty Gibbs is out of the 54. It's day done. What a day Josh Berry's had. Really promising opening stage, and then got tagged by Van Gisbergen, got turned around, got sent to the back, stormed his way forward again, and still is running in a really strong 13th place.
Yeah, what was so impressive, when he came back on the racetrack after the caution, when he first got spun out, he was flying. He drove up to like 16th, 17th, 18th with no help whatsoever with cautions. He just did it by passing people.
Briscoe able to clear Reddick. Next one on his list is Ross Chastain. Meanwhile, how about this guy here? Christopher Bell, who has won 2 of the last 3 races here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Toyota onboard. He swept last year the Xfinity Series race and the Cup race.
We heard him yesterday in practice tell, I believe it was Dylan Welch, that his car drove really, really good. It just wasn't as fast as he thought it should be. So, you know, you wonder if that's still really what the 20's facing. You know, is it just a speed deficit? Sometimes they don't drive bad. You just hope the race and the grip goes away from the other cars.
2 of the top 4 drivers, meaning Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, took part in that Goodyear tire test here back in July. So lots of laps on this Loudon track. It's been productive. Joey Logano continues to lead the Mobil 1-301 here in New Hampshire. And the most recent caution was caused by a big crash by John Hunter Nemechek. He's standing by with Kim Kuhn. Kim?
Yeah, Lee, a big hit for John Hunter after he snapped loose. Are you okay? And what were you feeling in the car?
Yeah, I'm good. I hate it for all my guys. We're on a really good stretch there as we have had the last few weeks. Getting into turn 3 under the 35 there. I don't know if just when I hit the bumps, but it automatically just turned sideways, and I was kind of along for the ride. So I hate it. We were making ground on it all day, kind of getting better track position-wise, and now we're going home with a wrecked race car. So we'll be back next week in Kansas.
Oh, good to hear he's okay. That was a big hit. This thing's hurt. You know, it's easy to see a guy get out and go to the infield care center, but those hits like that tend to stick with you.
Chase Elliott's just ahead of these two scrapping it out. Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman. You're talking about 8th and 9th here. Elliott's running in a good 7th spot now, Marty.
Yeah, 27th to 7th for Chase Elliott, and the car just gets better the longer they seem to run. Jeff, I love what you said in Countdown to Green as Alan Gustafson watches on. You said if you're not going to win in this round, it's all about points in this round. Chase Elliott in the first round only got 4 stage points the entire round. He's in a position right now to tie what he's done so far in the playoffs with 4 points right here, and that could be 4 critical points for this 9 team, Jeff.
It really could. Remember, he qualified 27th, so it was a real possibility that he could get no stage points today, but they did a nice job with strategy, 2 tires here. They had a good car, got up to about 14th, 15th, then kind of stalled out. So good decision to try 2 tires to get some stage points.
There goes Blaney on Bell. Here comes Briscoe. He's caught up to Bowman and Hamlin. He's going to work on his teammate here as he hopes that 4-tire strategy works for him. For sure, James Small got him a lot of track position with that 2-tire stop. 2 stops ago. So we'll see what the Southern 500 winner can do here today in New Hampshire. He raced from, if you remember, in the rain-affected race last year, Briscoe raced from, I think it was something like 23rd to 2nd. So he's no stranger to the comeback drives. You see Bowman in the mix there in the Ally Chevy. Tell us more, Dylan.
Yeah, this really has been a pretty good run for them at a track that they have struggled at recently. And even though they're not in the playoffs anymore, crew chief Blake Kerr is still quick to mention that they've got plenty to do to close this year. They want to continue to grow this team into a championship winning team. They're better this year than last in almost every statistical category. And today, as we said, is a good example of that. This has been a tough track for Alex. They qualified well. Their race car has been good enough to stay near the top 5 and inside the top 10 all day. Now just trying to put the full race together for the 48.
Well, he just saw Josh Berry go flying on by as Berry moves into the top 10 and continues this incredible comeback. Progressive on board. Denny Hamlin, let's go for a little ride.
Go 3, no run. By 4.
Jeff, what do you like that you see?
It's interesting because, you know, watching him, he doesn't run the same groove every time because he's just trying to get by the 9 car. So looking around, trying different things. We saw him run the top, trying to make a pass. Now he's down to the bottom. Chase Elliott doing a nice job, making this a difficult pass for Denny Hamlin.
Well, one of the most spoken about things in this race so far, and it will be after this race, is the coming together of the teammates from Joe Gibbs Racing. Tell us more, Kim.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs has been released from the care center. We saw the contact in the racing between you and your teammate Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was not happy with you, talking about how he was racing for a championship. As you look at the incident, was somebody in the right and somebody in the wrong, and where does that lay out?
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, but I'm excited to go race next week and looking forward to it.
Denny also mentioned that he felt like somebody from the organization should talk to you. What do you expect that
race next week. We're looking forward to it.
No comment. that was no comment with words, right?
That was 11-word no comment. That was an 11-word. Top of your screen as a reminder.
In all fairness, probably the best thing to do, right? Like, there's nothing going to get solved today. Denny Hamlin's going to be at Joe Gibbs Racing. You're going to be at Joe Gibbs Racing. It's not going to get fixed today. Just say nothing and deal with it on Monday.
Yeah, he has to answer to all of these other reporters on the top. You see Blaney going by Hocevar. This is an important closing laps for Blaney because now up to the 4th position, I think allows this team to consider 4 tires again. If you don't make any recovery, you probably have to take 2 to cycle to the front. I don't think 2 coming into the last stage is the right thing with how many laps are left. I think you really need to take 4. So Jonathan Hassler is very happy to see his driver in the 12 moving forward in these closing laps, taking a little pressure off this next pit decision.
Morgan and Morgan on board. It's been a tough day for Kyle Busch and the RCR squad at the 8. Inside the final 3 laps in stage 2. Bubba Wallace, it's been a handful in this second stage. Let's have a listen.
Embarrassing. Is what it is. Bring it back. Get yourself back in it. We'll figure it out.
Charleston Ike saying bring it back at the stage break. We'll try and figure something out to get you back in it.
Well, 3 of the playoff drivers that most likely are not going to get stage points: Chastain, Cindric, and Bubba Wallace. And you heard the frustration from Bubba, just, embarrassing. Car's just nowhere near where he wants it to be.
And this is the danger of the reset. Averaged 33 points in each of the first races in the round of 16, 3rd most of everyone, averaged 12 stage points a race. I mean, everything was going right, and then it's ice cold water thrown on your performance. Comes here instantly right at the cut line, because that's how the playoffs work and the reset. And it's no big deal if you go out and perform, but if you have a lackluster day, it really rings true.
Final lap brought to you by Credit One Bank. Joey Logano started the day with his first pole position at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and he gets his first stage win at this track as well. It's his 3rd stage win of the year. But Logano doing Logano-type things. Joey has led exactly 100 laps today on this beautiful day in the Northeast. Remember, he's a Northeast boy, hails from Connecticut, not too far away. It's going Logano's way so far. Stage break coming up, and a whole lot more. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by Toyota. Let's go places. Stage break in between stages 2 and 3. So the day today, 114 laps to go, but a whole lot of action coming up here shortly. And we have that third and final stage. Pit road is open, and Kim Kuhn is standing by. Kimmy?
And for Kyle Larson, he said less grip around the entire corner than earlier. He said pushing, so just a little tight. They will make a small adjustment for Larson. Right top of your screen, William Byron saying at first it felt loose on 2 tires, but overall I don't think we learned anything. Could not get a good read on it. They will make a slight air pressure adjustment, Marty.
14th to 4th for Ryan Blaney, who told Jonathan Hassler the balance is good. We just need our track position back. We talked about the pressure Paul Wolf has been putting on his driver, Joey Logano. Well, the driver answered second in stage 1, first in stage 2. He said, I need a little more turn and a little more drive on exit. And the pit crew answered as well with a 4-tire stop. They hold the lead.
They threw 2 on the Cindric Mobil, and he was able to advance many positions. Off to Kansas next weekend, and here's what's on the racing menu. Arca Menards on Friday with our friends at FS1, and then CW for Xfinity action, True TV for Cup Series practice and qualifying. We'll see you Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on USA for the next race in the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs from Kansas. So while we remain in this stage break, let's get some updates from pit road. We kick it off with Marty Snyder.
Lee in countdown to green. Chase Elliott told Dylan Welch, I'm not sure we can get any stage points today. Well, they did it. He finished 7th in stage 2, earning 4 stage points. He told Alan Gustafson, I need just a little bit more turn in the center. And so for the first time today, Kim, Chase Elliott will restart inside the top 10. We'll see what he can do with it.
Well, Marty, let's also talk about what happened during Countdown to Green when we talked to Christopher Bell. He said they did themselves no favors qualifying 19th. It was going to take almost 300 laps of the whole race to get to the front. We've seen glimmers of hope from them right now, running in the 8th position, seeing them in the top 5. No further talk about the left damage he got from that earlier incident. He just said too loose that run. Dylan, they went back to where they were with 4 tires and a small adjustment.
Well, Kim, Steve mentioned the points reset for the 23 of Bubba Wallace. First race of the playoffs at Darlington. They were in a similar position to start that first round, had a good day, and just built on that foundation the next 2 races. So hold serve was the simple message for crew chief Charlton Ike to his driver today, but it has been exactly what they didn't want. They battled a tight race car all day, put them on the back foot from the start of the race. They still haven't gotten it freed up, and save for a great strategy call, or at this point maybe just some luck, they're looking at a big uphill climb next week in Kansas.
Bubba currently sits in 26th position. So, graphic on the left of your screen, points earned today. And obviously Bubba is not on that. Maximum points, no surprise, going to the man who's led the most laps with 105 to Joey Logano, his teammate Ryan Blaney, William Byron, He's just been quietly yet effectively there. He was able to leapfrog his Hendrick teammate Kyle Larson on that most recent pit stop as well.
You see Logano and Blaney 19 and 17 points on the front row. Their teammate Austin Cindric, he has not been able to earn points. Very frustrated with his qualifying effort yesterday. So what do? They try something different. They put 2 tires on here. Going to try to get track position.
Yeah, 110 to go. We're going to need at least a pit stop if it runs green. But the second stage was as broken up as anything we've seen here in recent years. So
if the first 2 stages were anything to go by, get ready for some more enjoyable racing. It's been a great afternoon already. 110 laps to go. Stage 3 is on. Logano leads the field to green. Hamlin pressing on the inside in that blue and white progressive Camry. Here comes Briscoe on the inside, right there with Blaney. Berry up high in the 21. Bell caught in the middle. Four wide down into turn 3 with Josefar and Bowman. Bowman's on the outside there. Ryan Preece down low on the inside.
Drivers are just willing to go wherever someone is not. 4 wide around New Hampshire. That normally doesn't work. You can see right here. Trying to make the outside work up in front of this battle. Once again, that 12 car, he's very, very fast on long runs, but this is the weakness. Just cannot, in traffic, take off with the speed that he needs.
Slight contact there between the teammates. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott fans are rejoicing. Look at the Napa 9 from 27th on the grid, and he went backwards on lap 1, by the way. He has stormed his way up into the top 5.
And you see what the potential reward is for the driver of the 9, currently 10 points above the cut line. Continue to try to stay above, take the pressure off. That Roval is looming a couple weeks out for everyone, just because it can be chaotic. We see stuff in the infield all the time, wrecks there before. So many cars normally on the lead lap at a road course, it all go away in a lap, so you would much rather just have a great New Hampshire or great Kansas to try to take some pressure off.
Bell and Chastain and Berry and Austin Cindric just up ahead. I can't help but go back to yesterday when our NASCAR on NBC Sports Dustin Long spoke with Chase Elliott after qualifying. Chase wasn't really in the talking mood, as you can understand. And today he told Dylan Welsh, look, we know we've got an uphill climb. We just got to get to work. Well, he and Alan Gustafson have pulled off something quite amazing here so far. Yes, there's still 105 laps to go, but for Chase Elliott to be running 4th, what a comeback drive that is.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Chase this morning about that, and he said, look, we're just going to grind it out. Like, we're just going to go get all we can. There was obviously disappointment in my conversation with Chase, but no panic. Just, hey, he felt like he didn't do a good job qualifying and put his team back further than they deserved to be. But he just said, I'm going to go to work. We're going to grind a good finish out. Marty.
And keep in mind, Jeff, this 9's car strength all day long, as Ryan Blaney might get by him here in the next few laps, has been the longer run. You know, I talked to Alan Gustafson yesterday. He said, I think it's kind of funny all these teams are putting pressure on New Hampshire. This is the race I'm worried about in this round. Kansas, I felt like we had the best car in the spring. Road courses have been very good for us. So this is the race that I'm a little bit worried about. What a performance from that 9 team. He might lose his spot to Ryan Blaney, but I tell you what, that 9 car has been so impressive today.
Chase doesn't have to feel bad about losing a spot to Ryan Blaney, because I think that's the question left in the race for me, is can Ryan Blaney get back to controlling this race? Between the pit cycles and the yellows and some restarts, he lost control of it in the second stage. Without a doubt, for me, the 12 is the best car on the racetrack. He just passed the 11, he passed the 9, up to the 4th position. Larson, Byron, and Logano ahead.
Progressive on board with Denny Hamlin working on Chase Elliott.
Chase was loose getting in the corner right there. You saw he tried to carry speed, and you see the back of the car dancing around.
talk more about Denny Hamlin with Dylan Welch. Take it away, Dylan.
Well, and this is another team as he races the 9 who's also emphasizing trying to get through this race that placed a lot of importance on this one. That's the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Felt like they just needed 2 really strong runs here and also at Kansas next week. The playoff points and the stage points were their biggest thing. As we said, didn't get any in stage 1. Been battling a tight race car today, but this is the track position that they've needed all day. They've got it and got the race car a little bit better for him, and their points position has improved as well for Hamlin.
You see the advantage Hamlin has over the 9 car. It's mostly right here on corner entry into 3. Chase isn't able to carry the speed. Looks like he's loose on corner entry through those bumps. It really affects him badly. Look at the guys behind him make ground up on him on that end of the racetrack.
Top 8 drivers are all playoff drivers. You see that reflected with the blue surround on the graphic on your screen. That's how you can track it all the way through the playoffs, and it goes to yellow once somebody has advanced to the next round. Will that be Joey Logano here today? Characteristic of things from the past that the 3-time and defending series champion has done. So we got less than 100 to go. Why don't we have a look at the Xfinity fastest laps? And the man in that red and white, that iconic scheme for Wood Brothers, Josh Berry, is the fastest in this race, and he did it nice and early.
Yeah, the 5th lap of the race, but maybe the drive of the race. Got spun out earlier and went to the back. He's driven up now into the top 10. Shows you the speed of the Penske cars. And he's done a great job with it.
Wow. Did you see Ryan Blaney, how effective he was there on Larson? Those guys at the front, get ready.
When we talk about speed, you know, it's easy to gloss over between strategy and fuel mileage and tires and new tires. You know, that dominates a conversation throughout the summer just because of the variety of races. But the simple fact is, if you have top-tier race cars, which is what Josh Berry is sitting in the 21, and what Ryan Blaney is sitting in, or even the Hendrick cars, this is the best we've seen them at New Hampshire in quite some time. Speed kind of masks, or at least gives you a chance to recover from everything. There's so much pressure taken off every other decision. When you're an average speed car, you have to do everything perfect. When you have great speed, you have some recovery. Now, is there enough time for the 21 to recover from getting spun out? I don't know, but if this was just an average car, he'd be still mired back in the pack. He's not, he's driving forward.
See the 2-car of Austin Cindric on the outside, trying to carry speed through the middle of the corner. Remember, he is on 2 tires. Watch right here. One of Chastain gets by him. This is the reason. Right there. Car gets really loose. Just cannot stay in the gas. And easily the 1 car gets by him.
Meanwhile, a little further back, this is Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick. Door to door. And you're talking about 17th and 18th here in the running. And it's been a tough day for 23-11. Reddick is 17th, Bubba Wallace is 23rd. Meanwhile, there's 1.6 seconds from teammate to teammate. Logano in the lead, Blaney in 3rd. Let's monitor that gap. When we come back, we'll give you an update. Blaney's on the surge. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, presented by Toyota. That's a great shot to show you how beautiful this afternoon is. The whole weekend has been magnificent. Fans having a great time, and they've been treated to a pretty cool race with 88 to go. But it's now time for the ones to watch with thanks to Credit One Bank. All right, Mr. Burton, Mr. four-time New Hampshire winner, who do you like the look of?
Hometown guy from Middleton, Connecticut, Joey Logano on an 18-race winless streak. But 5 of those 8 wins have come in the playoffs. This is a big moment guy. He loves these big moments. We've seen him do it time and again. He has a good shot to do it again today.
Well, if Joey Logano wants to win, he's going to have some big moments, because Ryan Blaney has been the fastest car since the haulers pulled into New Hampshire Motor Speedway earlier this week. He was basically untouchable in practice. He got beat in qualifying by that 22, but lap after lap, he has moved his way through the field. He has not run inside the top 15 with this car ever. Today could be his day.
How about William Byron in the Raptor number 24? William said this used to be one of their favorite tracks, but kind of lately it's got away from them. This is a turnaround point for him. I know he's just lost a position to his teammate Kyle Larson. This is a track where William has not yet had a top 10. So this is a positive, a massive positive for him to be running as strong and as consistently at the front as the 2-time Daytona 500 winner has been today. However, remember when we went to the break, I told you the gap was 1.6 seconds between Logano and Blaney. It's now just tenths of a second.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Blaney, 18th is his best finish at this track in this car, and now he shows up with just unbelievable speed. I think now at this point he wants to try to work his way by Logano, and then when you come to pit road, right, 25 green flag laps of the tires, 85 laps to go, I think you stay on the conservative side a little bit. I don't think these tires are slowing down so much that you have to aggressively jump to pit road. I don't think, you lose the race with an untimely yellow. I don't think you lose the race by being the 5th or 10th car to pit road under the green flag cycle.
Jeff, do you remember when we sat down in Charlotte with the 16 playoff drivers? One of the questions we asked Joey Logano is, who impresses you? And he said, well, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody else, and I kind of hate to say this because he's my teammate, but he said, Ryan Blaney really impresses me. His speed, his consistency, his racecraft. Well, now he's going to have to fight the guy who impresses him.
Yeah, he's so fast, and on every kind of racetrack he's fast, and now at 31 years old, you start to couple that experience that he has with the speed that he has, and Ryan Blaney becomes very dangerous for the rest of the field.
Logano, Blaney, Larson, Byron, all playoff cars in the top 4. Barry, still an amazing comeback. I mean, he's not quite as fast as Blaney, but he is matching the Penske speed of those first 2 cars.
He's driven back up to 5th.
Unbelievable.
I mean, somebody's going to get out today and say, I couldn't pass.
Well, you got passed by the 21, I'm sure, at some point, unless you're one of these front 2 cars.
It is amazing, how dominant these cars are. You have to celebrate the work that this company has done to bring this much speed.
I would say, though, if I'm Paul Wolfe, Jonathan Hassler, this is that moment where, when you come to pit road is very important, but I'm also making sure my pit crew coach has my pit crew dialed in. It's not the time to speed. Like, execution still kind of reigns supreme on what has to happen to win these races. Now, they've done the hardest part, which is bring the fastest race cars. But now they have to find a way to get these last 81 laps.
It was a spectacular and explosive final few laps from Ryan Blaney to win the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona just prior to the playoffs. This has been a more methodical climb, race long. He's led 61 laps. His teammate in front of him's led twice that amount, but this has been very methodical. So, hey, Marty, we've had 8 different winners in the last 8 races. If Joey Logano can win here today, it'll be 9. Do you think he can do it?
Well, most dominant performance of the year for Joey Logano. Can he finish it off? A moment ago, Coleman Presley gave him his teammate Ryan Blaney's lap time, and Logano came back very quickly and said, I can't run that fast. So now it becomes a question of, Steve, how does Jonathan Hassler and Ryan Blaney manage the back half of this race? You talked about the pit strategy, but if there's another restart, that is where the 12 has struggled today, and Logano has shined a little bit more than his teammate.
Yeah, I think the question is, you know, does the yellow necessitate a pit stop? If it does, then you can make some adjustments for the short run, probably change some air pressure and some balance. I think Jonathan Hassler, bottom right there, you know, he's a championship crew chief. He won the championship in 2023 with Ryan Blaney. They know how to adapt. The Purdue grad just is really plugged in with his driver. Their personalities are very similar to the way they break it down, and you think he would make those adjustments for Blaney to try to fire off. Now, the problem is, we talked about it already, the guy in the 22, #1 defender in all of the playoffs, right? So you have the #1 defender with control of the race. That's tough, right? That's makes the task even harder, and he's a teammate. So we've seen the 11 and the 54 cross paths, one being a playoff and a non-playoff. Well, these are 2 playoff cars. So, Jeff, you know, I'm not saying you have to put mittens on, but you cannot cost Team Penske a win by wrecking with your teammate. I don't think I would really want that call from the captain, Roger Penske.
On a day where we've seen already teammates collide.
Yeah, and they, you know, this group works so well together. They talk about it publicly. Remember, there was years ago, some, you know, in super speedway racing in particular, where they didn't always, Penske drivers always get along exactly like they need to, and that kind of set the stage. A ton of respect between these 2 drivers. You mentioned Joey Logano's comment about how good Blaney is, but Blaney feels the same about Logano. Blaney has tons of respect for what Logano does, and this is the kind of battle you want. You know, we as a company came here with better speed than everybody else. Now let's fight it out amongst ourselves. That is what every multi-team car owner says. Let's beat everybody else and then fight it out.
75 laps to go, 35 laps of the tire. Quick math says about 20 laps away would be a good clean split of the stage. Not sure if that's what they're thinking. They're going to need about, oh, I don't know, 10 or 11 gallons of gas. So only 1 can. That takes a little pressure off the pit crew as well. Look at Blaney.
I'll tell you right now, these guys are out front and they are fast, but they are not as fast as the 21 car, Josh Berry. If Josh Berry can get clear of this 5 car and he gets clean air like that right there, and these guys get hung up, Berry is about 3.5 seconds behind.
Here goes Blaney, top box to the lead. 74 to go, remember that. The 2 Team Penske Fords, 1, 2, the Wood Brothers Ford, of course, which has that Penske alliance, runs 3rd with Josh Berry. And then the Hendrick teammates in Larson and Byron. So Blaney up front here in Loudon.
back at New Hampshire with 68 to go in the race here. The first race in the round of 12 and the first move to pit road has been made. Jonathan Hassler brings Ryan Blaney to pit road to pit with 68 to go, Dylan. We'll see if everybody else follows suit now.
One of the Team Penske cars is following suit. This is Austin Cindric. They took 2 tires on the last stop. Huge net gain of position for them. 4 in fuel to the end here for Cindric. Kim.
Yeah, Christopher Bell pitting from the 7th position. He said it feels good in open air, but started off just a little bit too free. Just a very minor air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh tires, Marty.
Chase Briscoe bringing the 19 to pit road. They've been hanging just outside the top 10. Been struggling with the handling of the car, just way too tight. All these teams electing for 4 tires here with 67 laps to go. When does Joey Logano, now back in the lead, come to pit road? That's the question.
It wouldn't be anytime soon if I'm Paul Wolf. These other guys have shown their hands. We only have 44 laps on these tires, 66 laps to go. I would run long, and I know I'm losing time, but the longer I run, if a caution comes out, the freshest my tires would be, and I could stay on the racetrack. That would be the strategy for me on the 22 car. You cannot beat the 12 heads up. We have seen this. He just ran you down and drove by you. So I could chase the 12 onto pit road and run inside the top 5, or I can run very, very, very long, hope to get a yellow after my pit stop and try to beat him and get the golden ticket. Kim.
And the 5 in a little bit earlier than planned. Originally they were going to come around lap 244, but with the green flag stop starting, Cliff electing to bring him in. You saw that chassis adjustment, just need a little bit more grip. For his teammate William Byron, just said the brakes have gone a little bit soft. He's trying to manage them. He said he just pushed the tires too hard on the short run, Dylan.
Hamlin has been a little bit tight. Did they get everything on there as they should have? It looked like it was a little close. Hamlin was free on that last run. Late exit, said the car fired off really strong, 4 in fuel.
Not only will Ryan Blaney be fighting the 22, but he may be fighting Berry as well, because Berry has been flying in 2nd place. Here's Chastain in.
And this is another car that is maybe having their best stint of the day so far. Ross Chastain and the entire team feel like this is the best progress they've made on the 1 car. No changes on the chassis, just 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Dylan, that window to go a little bit longer, like Steve mentioned, is extremely narrow, so Paul Wolf left his driver out just a little bit longer. Logano told Wolf just a moment ago on the radio, I need help in the center. Still too tight there, but the exit has gotten much better. He takes that long drive all the way down pit road to pit stall number 1. We'll see if the pit crew can answer. They've had a terrific day here on pit road and a clean stop thus far. There goes his teammate Ryan Blaney flashing by that pit stall number 1. We'll see where Logano cycles out.
Yeah, Logano decides to run a little bit longer to have fresher tires at the end. It's always easier to tell you what you're going to do up here in the TV booth, Diff, because when you're wrong, you just go, oh, well, that was the wrong decision. These crew chiefs have to absolutely live with it. Now, we have the 21 of Josh Berry, the 9 of Chase Elliott. You see on the leaderboard, they're continuing to run. Elliott's losing some time because he's not running the fastest laps. Josh Berry, and he's running a 30-80. The fastest lap of the race is a 30 flat. So, I mean, this 21 car has got crazy speed.
For reference, Blaney just ran a 28, so a little over half a second faster from Blaney.
Kim, take it away.
Yeah, still brakes an issue for Tyler Reddick. In fact, he said, I expect to go in the corner and have no brakes. He does need some help on that balance. Just need to be a number or number and a half freer. He said, no turn on that Toyota.
Here comes Josh Berry, Dylan.
Yeah, this has been such a strong race for these guys. One of the best cars in the field, and they've shown it so far. Going to be 4 tires and fuel here. Josh didn't say much about the balance on this run, just had his head down and was picking cars off 1 by 1. They were watching William Byron on that run just to figure out when they needed to pit to stay, I guess, ahead of him, and they decided to come down now.
Yeah, all of these teams have some prediction models that say if you pit, where do you rejoin the racetrack? And it can be just as important where you blend in traffic to when you put the tires on. So there's a few factors that go into this equation, Dylan.
And here's Bubba Wallace in. It has been a struggle for these guys today. Tight condition every single run. They'll go around and change 4 tires for Wallace. Just try to get what they can here. Keep fighting to the end for the 23.
And released. to keep fighting for another 58 laps or so. Here comes Chase Elliott. He pits from the lead on cycle.
Yeah, lead pitting with 59 to go. Here comes Chase Elliott. They did run longer than any other playoff car. You see Brad Keselowski leaving his pit stall. So we'll see if this move by Alan Gustafson pays off with fresher tires at the end of the run, like Steve had mentioned. Chase told Alan just a moment ago, I felt like early in the run, I needed a little bit of help with the rear end. It was way too free, but honestly, it got better the longer we ran. So we'll see where Chase Elliott cycles out after leading just a lap.
Clean stop on the 9 car. We heard Dylan mention a little hiccup on the 11. So we've gone back to look at it. I only bring this up. Watch the left rear. Tire going on. Tire changer hit. Jack drops, and it's real. I mean, the gun's still on the left rear. We haven't heard anything out of the 11. I only show you the fan this just in case he has a wheel. That's what Dylan was talking about. He's absolutely right. The left rear, I wouldn't say that was a standard looking pit stop on the left rear. These wheels have proven that if you tighten a wheel up with a car on the ground, it won't get tight. Remember, a wheel came off the 11 car a week ago. They deferred the suspension of 2 pit crew members, which you are allowed to do, until next week in the Roval because they thought this week was so important. So now here's the 2nd week in a row. We will see if they have an issue, but the left side definitely a little questionable appearing for the pit stop of Denny Hamlin.
And Jeff, Denny has said we do not want to go to the Roval needing a great result. It's got to be done here and at Kansas.
Nobody does. The Roval, as Steve mentioned it earlier, it's just such a challenge, one of the most difficult racetracks on the circuit. You just don't want to have to earn points there. You want to go there feeling good about your points.
Here's a quick reminder of next weekend right here on USA. Friday, the greatest rivalry in golf begins. Steve, it's time for the Ryder Cup.
Bethpage Black, can't wait.
Sunday, it's Premier League, followed by the NASCAR Playoffs from Kansas. We were just talking about it. It's all here live on USA. What a weekend that is.
7:10 a.m. first tee shots, in case you were wondering.
Exactly.
And then Kansas, if you thought this race was crazy, every single year Kansas is like just a moment in the playoffs. It looks so benign, yet every time it turns into an absolute fight. I'm not sure why it's that way. I expect no different when we head out west.
So 54 laps to go. There's 3.5 seconds between the leader and his teammate from Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. Joey's got 6-lap fresher tires, Jeff. We will watch that evolve over the next 54 laps.
Yeah, Blaney gained 3 seconds on Logano in that exchange. But as you mentioned, Logano has fresh tires, a little bit quicker. We keep talking about Josh Berry. He has the freshest tires, and he is a fair amount quicker than both of them.
The Menards Ford for Team Penske, Ryan Blaney out in front here in New Hampshire and looking good. Cody Ware in the Parts Plus Ford for Rick Ware Racing. Damaged race car has brought out the most recent caution.
Yeah, heavy damage to the front of this 51 car. This is going to be a stressful lineup. Let's see what happens exactly, Jeff. Ooh.
It gets up the racetrack. It gets into the free and then spins out. Remember, there was contact between those guys earlier. I don't know if that had anything to do with this incident.
That was the view from Tyler Reddick just a moment ago.
A lot of damage, big impact.
All right, Jeff, you coming to pit road? See how I asked him before he could ask me?
Yes. This is what we talked about earlier. 12 car was catching these guys. 12 was trying to lap them. Austin Dillon into the back of the 51. Turned him around. That was early in the race.
So pit lane is open and there's a number of takers.
Busy. Everybody really but Josh Berry. I assume we're going to see right side tires probably on all of these cars. Kim.
Yeah, Kyle Larson saying I could wrap it like I wanted, but it was too hard on the right rear. You see the chassis adjustment, right side tires. Big debate on the 24, 2 or 4, deciding to take 2 for William Byron, Marty.
Could Ryan Blaney get his third and most important win of the year? The call was yellow for Blaney. That means right side tires for teammate Joey Logano. He said he was plowing early in the run. Logano will leave pit road. A nice drag race with his teammate Blaney off of pit road, but those two will leave first and second.
It was pretty tight between the teammates. Good stuff there. Denny Hamlin jumped up a position as well. Kyle Larson lost a spot, but he got jammed in, exiting his box with Tyler Reddick immediately ahead. And Chase Elliott, along with Josh Berry, stayed out. Here's the reason for the caution one more time. Cody Ware and Austin Dillon. You're watching the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, presented by Toyota. Been quite the afternoon, whether it's the teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing coming together, Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. Ty didn't want to talk about it afterwards. Pretty tense situation there. You've got the Penske teammates fighting at the front. They may just be upset by Josh Berry, but have a look at this. On pit road between Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Larson only changing right sides gets that cadence very, very difficult. A really nice job between 5:45, crew chiefs on the radio. Now it ends up really hurting the 45 because he misses his pit box, right? So you see him pull ahead. He then has to back up and get in position. So for Reddick, he's now 19th. He ended up putting 4 tires on because he lost his track position, but Remember, that's what killed Christopher Bell at Darlington. You know, little damage could have hurt both race cars.
Once they got in that situation, it was good communication. Nobody got wrecked. But prior to that,
good point.
It could have been a lot better. There could have been a way for Reddick to actually slow down, understanding the time. And now Reddick couldn't know that. He had to hear that from his spotter or the crew chief saying, you're going to have to wait on the 5. He would have been better off to slow down, let the 5 go, and then get in his box.
See Josh Berry stayed on the racetrack.
I think Josh Berry is in the position that he wanted to be in. This car has been really fast. I know he has a deficit on tires, but
12 laps, Jeff. 12
laps.
Flag laps because he was one of the later cars to pit road.
But only on right sides, right? Because the 12 and the 22,
Great
24,
point.
They all put on right sides. So lefts are equal. It's just 12 lap newer right side tires.
Let's talk more about Chase Elliott, who's Marty.
Yeah, 12 lap pressure tires for Chase Elliott versus, or 12 lap older tires, I should say, for Chase Elliott versus those who pitted behind him. So that's the advantage of maybe running a little bit longer. The other interesting thing, Steve, is I know all those teams took right side tires, the leaders, Blaney, Logano, and all those guys when they came down pit road, but that was their last set of tires. So should something go on here, they have a fresh set of tires in the 9 pit tonight.
There you go. I assume these guys want to make this their last pit stop.
Chase Elliott has 2 laps less on his tires than Josh Berry has. Can he take advantage of that?
Bell's super pace car off the track, ready to go. The view from Logano. There's Blaney. They're pushing Berry. Elliott on the inside. Berry leads them into turn 1. Blaney's following. Watch the difference here. Hocevar rounds up Kyle Larson momentarily. Larson hangs tough in the middle. Logano's blocked in behind Byron and Elliott.
Berry is wishing that Blaney got hung up in a little bit of traffic because now those fresh right side tires are only a car length back. The good news for Berry is the 12 hasn't fired great today, been the best on long run, but the newer tires definitely an advantage. You see him dive to the bottom.
Briscoe pulled out of line 2 on that inside line into turn 1.
I know it's fresher tires on this 12, but I just don't know that it's enough advantage. We're getting ready to find out.
41 laps to go here in New Hampshire. Look at William Byron just lurking in the background there. His Hendrick teammate in Chase Elliott, and then 2 back is Larson.
Blaney to the quarter panel of the 21. Watch this 21 car though, right there. The car turns, rotates, he's able to go back to the throttle. This is going to be a very difficult pass.
And it's working those right side tires of the 12 as Byron tries to inch in.
Today's the day that Josh Berry needed on any of the 3 previous weekends. He just had the worst luck, the worst circumstances, and now Ryan Blaney draws alongside and gets his nose in front of the 21.
Yeah, you got to drive it. Do not let the 21 get to the outside.
Blaney back in the lead. He's led for 77 laps today and again controls this race. Keep your eyes on that 24 though. Here's William Byron. He needs to make quick work of this as well to clear Josh Berry, to have a shot at going with Ryan Blaney.
Oh, Berry went to the bottom that time. Kind of surprised. Byron just a little bit. He's been using a lot of racetrack. Oh, William Byron jumped in the throttle, trying to get on the outside of Berry. He has some freedom because he has space behind him with the battle between the 22 and the 9.
Chase Elliott does not want to relinquish this position. Remember, Chase stayed out along with Josh Berry when everybody else dived for pit road, but Logano's been able to successfully pull that off, or has he? Back comes Elliott. And ahead of these guys, Josh Berry is still remaining a roadblock for William Byron's progress.
I think the new tire advantage is kind of diminished now, Steve. I'm not sure what your thought is on that, but the restart, I think, is when you really had it. Oh, Logano runs Elliott up the racetrack.
This has been phenomenal between these two. The last 2-3 laps. Let's watch Logano at work.
It's going to be the 9. Lane up, 2-lane tire, even, 2 to Larson. 34 laps to go by 3.
It's the voice of his spotter, Coleman Presley.
On those 2 tires, Berry was 2nd fastest, Chase Elliott 4th fastest.
No pressure.
So after clearing Berry, Blaney was able to jump out to a half-second lead, and that's stabilized. That's been exactly the same for the past 2 laps. Nobody's eating into that lead from the Team Penske Ford driver.
Bell on 4 tires, the first car on 4 fresh tires. Seems like it's starting to help a little bit. He's up to 8th. His teammate Denny Hamlin, the opposite, down to 13th. Restarted 6th, lost 6 spots in 1 set of corners. Still 24 above the cut line. Just never know where those 6 points are really going to matter, and I think Bell's thinking it going the other direction, right? 24 above the cut line, now 25.
Think about everything that's happened to Austin Dillon, and the 3 for RCR is running just outside the top 10 in 11th. There he is. Non-playoff driver now, though, after being eliminated last weekend. Let's talk about the playoff drivers. Let's go through the field, and Marty Snyder kicks us off.
Boy, Ryan Blaney has just been so impressive, about to lead his 85th lap of the day as he clicks that off. 31 to go from his 3rd win of the season. When I talked to Jonathan Hasser this morning, he mentioned, hey, our short track program has had to evolve this year, but Ryan has adapted so well to the softer tire here at these short tracks. I'll say they have been so good on the long run. Can he finish it off, Kim?
Well, Marty, William Byron looking for his first top 10 here at New Hampshire, currently running in the 3rd position. I asked crew chief Rudy Bugle what they needed to improve on from the first round. He said car speed, handling, execution, pit road, literally everything. He said we need to be the team we were for the 26 weeks of the regular season. The first round was not the best round, but they were confident. They have answered today, Marty, with a solid day.
Kim, what an impressive day for Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott to start 27th at the track they were most concerned about in this round, and to be running 4th right now, trying to hold Joey Logano behind them. Very impressive day. And remember, they were just 5 above the cut line when they came into the race today. Going to gain a little bit on that. But here comes Logano trying to get that spot, Lee.
Just time and time again working on Chase Elliott, and Elliott is relentless.
Well, he's doing exactly what Jeff pointed out the 21 was trying to do, right? The 9's just committing to the top lane. All right, the 22 is going to overdrive the entry, slide up, and the 9 I just don't think has the speed to cross him over. He doesn't, so mission accomplished for the 22. Hand out the window. He understands Chase conceded, let him go by. For the 9, I think it's very important to just really maintain this tire life. Remember, 10-lap older tires. He should be okay, but I can see a scenario where he falls back to 8th or 9th.
You also have to remember what the mission was going into today after qualifying. They qualified poorly. How do you get points? How do you get stage points? What is a successful day? It isn't always a win. This is a point battle in these 3 races. If you don't win, it's all about points. You just have to maximize your day, maximize your capabilities. You have to wonder if they leave here with a top 5, top 6 finish, they feel like that was successful.
What was setting up to be a Blaney versus Logano battle, Blaney having to work so hard from that restart, Logano having to work so hard from that restart to get by the likes of Chase Elliott There's now a 3.5 second gap between the race leader Blaney and his teammate Logano in 4th. So keep that in mind with 25 laps to go.
Yeah, 2 drivers at the bottom of the playoff leaderboard is 23:11. Here they are side by side. We just saw Reddick have his issue on pit road. He's still in the lead lap running 21st. Bubba Wallace currently in the free pass position, 25th on the racetrack. First car 1 lap down. Bubba's really only a way to improve for points at this would be a yellow and to get back on the lead lap.
And yes, it's only the first race in the round of 12, but have a look at the points in the bottom left of your screen. The 23:11 teammates are both below the cut line, along with Ross Chastain and Austin Cindric.
And Briscoe at only +7 had just such a great first round, and here he is. You know, they all count the same, but there's an emotional toll when you have a below average first race, right? Because then you feel like you have to race from behind.
This race to the win's not over. We know that Barry has older right side tires than this 12 car Blaney, but the last few laps, Barry has been significantly faster than Blaney. As Blaney's saving a little bit of tires, he trying to manage his tires. That we don't know, but right now the 21 is better, Marty.
Jeff, I think Ryan Blaney's giving it all he's got right now. Tim Vita was giving him Josh Berry's lap times the last couple of laps, and Blaney just came on the radio, said, tell me where he's running. So Tim Vita, his spotter, is giving Ryan Blaney that information. So lane selection, Jeff, could that be a factor here? Because Berry's not slowing down and quicker than Blaney right now.
I've seen this most of the day. The 21 of Barry didn't always have track position, but he has been fast, and much of the race he was actually faster than this 12 car. Obviously thinking he had older right side tires, he couldn't win, but he is faster, clearly faster on corner entry. Runs up the racetrack. Watch what that allows him to do on corner exit. Really carries speed onto the straight.
Wow, that last time it was obvious. See if the same entry speed into 1. Better, not quite as big of a gap as he did in turn 3, but oh wow, man, that 21 rolls the middle nice.
And so Barry is forcing Blaney to run a different line. Blaney's watching his mirror, seeing Barry's faster. Now Blaney has changed what he's doing, which makes his car probably slower in an effort to slow down the 21.
On the bottom of your screen, Bell continually use those 4 tires versus the 2 in front to try to get Larson for 6th. 21 car of Josh Berry got spun out earlier, Dylan, but he's all the way back to 2nd.
Yeah, and I asked Miles Stanley, the crew chief, what can you guys do as a team to change your bad luck narrative? And he said, we're not really preparing any differently. We just need stuff to go our way, and I think that's represented by their day today. Their spin wasn't in stage 1 this week, it was in stage 2, but they've done exactly what they needed to do. Just get through each stage by stage, by design, like they wanted to at the start of this race, and put the full race together. Now, having a car as good as they've had certainly has probably made that a little bit easier, but they have not given up all day, and they may be rewarded here in the best way if Barry can find a way around the 12.
Well, Jeff, let's just remember that first round, right? Definitely too low, hit the ground. I put that on the team at Darlington, wrecked in the 2nd corner. But then the next week, he gets turned by the 9, no ill will, just a mistake by Chase Elliott, wrecks the 21 at St. Louis. Then we go to Bristol, and the 21 car catches on fire because of the tire rubber. I'm not sure, I'm not comfortable pointing to the team with that. I think that's a little bit of just bad luck. The same thing happened to Austin Cindric, but he advanced. So there could have been a worse first round, but you would forget that quickly with a victory.
The disadvantage for Josh Berry in this situation is that they have an affiliation, a very tight affiliation with Penske. And they all work together closely. We saw the Gibbs cars. We saw Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin. They were having at it. Denny was like, hey, I'm a playoff guy. You're not. You should give me ground. Has this conversation happened, right, between these guys? How does Josh Berry handle this, Marty, battling Blaney?
Yeah, this could be a season-changing win for Ryan Blaney with 18 laps to go. So would team order, Steve, ever come into play right here? Because as Jeff mentioned, they come out of the same shot. Berry not in the playoffs. Blaney still fighting for a title.
Well, I think it's very fair to expect the 21 not to hit or move the 12 out of the way. But if the orders are for the 21 not to try to win this race, then I would be extremely upset with an organization that ordered that. And matter of fact, I feel like Roger Penske would never say that. I feel like he would say, you can't wreck each other, And you can't ship the 12 out of line to do it.
But you can race each other for the win.
You can rate. Roger Penske is a competitor. You don't win Indy 500s. You don't build the business he has without being a little bit of aggressive and a bit cutthroat. And Ryan Blaney, I think, looking in his mirror right now, expects Josh Berry to race him for all he's worth. He doesn't expect, you know, for him to cut him a slack. Now, he doesn't probably expect to run into from behind.
Well, you can see right there, Josh Berry is trying. He was in the gas, trying a different lane on corner exit. I agree with everything you just said, Steve. I don't believe that there's team orders. You can't win this race. I do believe Josh Berry has to race him with respect, as he would because he's his teammate anyway, not just because of the point situation.
Bottom box, Chase Briscoe racing Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin, his teammate right there. Meanwhile, that top box, earlier this year in Las Vegas, Josh Berry got his first career Cup Series victory. He is not going any further in the playoffs, but if he can get a second here today after 3 very frustrating weekends, what a story that'd be.
Both of these cars have swung a little loose. Every now and then you can see them. You see the back of the car shaking around, especially in the middle of the corner. I just saw Blaney in the middle of 1 and 2. The back of the car was really around on the car, loose. And a couple laps before that, I saw Berry with the same situation. Now, that's probably why they're so fast, right?
That's what I was saying.
Getting that car to turn and rotate with grip is a massive advantage at this racetrack.
The only fear with being loose is being tight. You kind of lose time slowly. No big moments, but with loose, you could make one big slip and the car would go by you. Here it is. I think Berry's as close as he's been.
And these two are pushing each other forward because that gap to William Byron and the gap to Joey Logano has only increased as Josh Berry increases the pressure on Ryan Blaney.
You saw right there when Berry tried to turn, leave low, you saw the back of the car shake. That's where both of these cars are struggling with.
Drove it in deep to turn 3. He's right on the bumper of Blaney now. 12 laps to go of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Does Ryan Blaney win and lock himself into the round of 8 straight away? Or are we going to have a non-playoff driver win here in Loudon?
Blaney all the way to the bottom of the racetrack on exit. Berry followed him. Look at the entry speed, Steve.
Oh, big slide. That's the loose you were talking about. Carried speed, the back stepped out. Blaney gains a couple car lengths. That could just as easily happen with Blaney, though. Blaney right here has to be very, very disciplined. Force the 21 to pass you. Check out how loose this 21 gets.
Trying to make ground on corner entry. Turns the car. Whoa! Stick. Has to chase it up the racetrack.
Great catch.
That's a foot from looking just like the 42 earlier, who backed in the wall. I mean, that thing is so close to chattering around.
That was a crash that didn't happen, but yet he's gained more ground on Ryan Blaney.
He's got to step it up, right, if he's going to get this pass done. So he's asking his car, I need more speed from you. I'm going to have to drive you a little harder, but the car currently won't let him do it.
The right rear tire says, no, buddy. I'm doing all I can do back here.
Inside the final 10 laps. If you'd asked Josh Berry when he was sideways after getting accidentally tagged by Shane Van Gisbergen on lap 82, would you be in the hunt for a win today? He may have said, I don't think so. But what a drive it's been. What a group effort from the 21 at the Wood Brothers.
Now, I believe these softer tires are they're throwback tires. They have a memory, Jeff, like your time and my time. And I think that slide from the 21 has hurt the rears. They're now hot, they're slippery, it slows the car down. Josh has to take a breath, try to get him to, and they may not cool down. But this isn't like them raw car tires we've seen over time. I love the way these softer tires race. I think that's what we've seen here today, cars slipping and sliding.
And that's important for Blaney to understand as well as he starts to gap Berry is don't ask too much of your race car. Don't make the tire mad.
Practice runs usually don't lie. And yesterday in practice, Ryan Blaney looked so good, so consistent, so fast. And that's materialized into him leading for 108 laps today. And he's 7.5 laps from home, from winning for the first time here in New Hampshire.
Blaney, a playoff driver. Berry, a non-playoff driver. Byron in third, doing what needs to be done for his 2014. You see 46 above. Then behind him, Logano, a great day for Logano. Chase Elliott stayed out on the caution, much like Josh Berry, currently running 5th. He might lose a spot to Bell, who's coming on 4 tires, but I think after the poor qualifying run for the 9, they have to be very happy with the overall performance.
Right there, 27th to 5th. That is an epic day for Chase Elliott. He knew it was going to be tough, but boy, went about it in a workmanly fashion. Alan Gustafson and the 9 team, superb effort.
And you look down the playoff leaderboard further, you see Hamlin plus 26. He's recovered some from that bad restart. Briscoe also, he's up 6 spots right here, this 19 car of Briscoe.
Quick shout out to the Spire Motorsports teammates, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar, running in the top 10 and keeping the Southern 500 winner out of the top 10. There's Briscoe on the right of your screen. There's McDowell in the Gainbridge, 71. Trying to chase down Ross Chastain for 8th.
Also a little bit further back, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gregson in the top 20, having good runs. Austin Dillon 13th, Priest 14th.
This race has had a little bit of everything. It has the Gibbs conversation that may happen between the 54 and the 11. That's going to have to be talked about. We've seen Blaney lose some track position, been able to drive his way back through.
Can we request open mics for that meeting?
Oh
man. Boy.
Look, this drive from Blaney and Berry, both have been the fastest 2 race cars on the track for most of the day. Berry's trying to get the most out of his car. That was so much fun to watch. A little bit older tire. He was just going for it. And it's just fun to see drivers put their cars on the edge, trying to make something happen. And we've seen Blaney leading races with 1 or 2 to go and not win them. It's never over till they drop the checkered.
It was an extremely tough start to the year for Ryan Blaney, with non-finishes and just things not going his way. Nashville, when he got that first win on the season, was a considerable turning point. And especially the last 9-10 races have been epic. His consistency has been amazing. That win at Daytona, those final 2 laps. If you haven't seen the onboard, go online and check it out. It's amazing how he won that race. And now he's within 2 laps, just over 2 miles, from winning for the first time at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Josh Berry behind him has now fallen back to almost a second. I think the big power slide into turn 3, just that was it. The rear tires, the last bit of life or advantage they had went away.
One lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. It has been a day dominated by the Team Penske Fords. Joey Logano led 147 laps. Blaney, after he completes this circuit, it'll be 116, and it'll be the victorious one. Are we watching the beginning of a championship campaign for Ryan Blaney to become a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champ? It sure looks like it today. From practice to the front row to victory lane, Ryan Blaney wins in New Hampshire for the first time.
Hell yeah, fellas. God, I'm exhausted. Thank you, guys. What a weekend, man. Congratulations. Thanks, guys.
And that was an awesome battle too, with the satellite team, the Penske Associated team of Wood Brothers. Josh Berry, well done. Quite the comeback. Awesome day.
I'll have to stay resty the next 2 weeks, but not much to worry about. I'll still go racing though, but really proud of everybody, man. Thank you, guys.
How much can happen in a week? Last week at Bristol, Ryan Blaney's nephew got on the radio and shocked him, scared him. It surprised him. And this week, he locks himself into the round of 8, winning. And Jonathan Hassler, his crew chief, will be delighted. That was all business. Guys, I think we got quite a bit to unpack in the Progressive post-race show.
Can't wait.
That was a good day.
Yeah, that was a really good race. You never know. Steve and I we're talking before the race, what did we expect? And we came to the conclusion we didn't know what to expect.
Nope.
Today proves it once again.
Although the one thing we did have picked was that this car would be really fast.
Yep.
Now, by no means does that guarantee a win, but sometimes the fastest cars do win races, and that's, I believe, what happened today. The 21 maybe at times was better, but I believe this right here, this number 12, Menards Ford, out of the Penske stable. He was the talk of the town, talk of the garage in practice, and he backed it up.
And you remember they showed their hand first. Remember when they were the first to pit last? Before that last caution. But that strategy worked for the 12 team. Great call, Jonathan Hassler. Great driving from Ryan Blaney. And the Menards Ford is going to victory lane for the 3rd time this year. His nephew on the radio last week said Uncle Ryan win. Well, he didn't in Bristol, but he did today here in New Hampshire.
Welcome to the round of 8. Ryan Blaney advances at his first shot to do it. Here in the round of 12 at New Hampshire, Josh Berry made him earn it, but Ryan Blaney and the 12 team get to celebrate in front of a packed house here at the Magic Mile. Biggest win of the season for this 12 team. Man, yeah, go get the checkered flag. You fans make some noise for that. You already found a Ryan Blaney fan right there. Got the checkered flag to her. Boy, Ryan, how about Josh Berry there? How concerned were you over those final few laps?
Yeah, that was probably the hardest 20 laps that I drove. I was trying to kind of bide my stuff and kind of pull Josh a little bit, and then he really started coming. I started to get super free, and it was all I could do to hold him off and trying new lanes, and that was good racing and clean racing. Appreciate Josh for not throwing me the bumper when he could have, but what a cool day, what a cool weekend, super fast car all weekend. So can't believe the 12 boys, they're unbelievable. Really have been strong through the playoffs, and it's great to get a win first race of this round. So appreciate Menards, Libbin, Ford, Roush Yates Engines, Dex Imaging Body Armor, Wabash, the Worth Group, Advanced Auto Parts, everybody who makes this possible, man. And thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Was there part of you kind of mentally saying to Josh, hey, you're my teammate, don't race me this hard?
Oh, no, I expect him to go out and try to win the race. And I knew he wasn't going to lay over for me, but I figured we were going to get, I didn't think I was ever going to get the bumper, So we raced just super clean, but no, I mean, I would do the same if I was him, right? You go try to win the race. So that's what this thing was all about. And luckily, gosh, it just hung on a little bit better than his. But for a while, it was stressful and worn out. But overall, what a cool weekend. And look forward to going to Kansas next week.
So Lee just mentioned it a moment ago. Your nephew told you a week ago, hey, Uncle Ryan, go win one for me. Is it okay for Uncle Ryan to deliver 1 week later?
Yeah. I might have him get on the radio more often, but yeah, happy. I know Louie and Bodie are watching, so buddy, we did it a week later, but I'm happy we could do it.
In front of all these fans here at New Hampshire, Ryan Blaney gets his first ever win here in the Northeast, and he's on to the round of 8.
He was pushed hard too. And that just gets us going to talk a whole lot more about this Mobil 1 301 from New Hampshire with the Progressive post-race show coming up. Maybe there is something in it when he grows that beard and he just gets faster and better and the results keep coming. Ryan Blaney and Team Penske, they win in the round of 12. Ford's first victory in the playoffs, and we've got a lot to talk about coming up. Post-race show next.